And there we go. Hell yeah, I think we started at like the exact same time. Pretty cool if true. Hey, Pink and Blue Shark. Welcome in. You're early this time. Thank you. It's kind of in a messy pony tonight, the hair. We're just going with what we got. All right. Rad. Hi, Cece. Yeah, you were very early to the party. Very, very early. How's everybody doing as we get started? It has been a pretty calm, quiet week at work for me, which has been nice. I like the quiet weeks. Hey, Anna Grace. You wish you were as patient as me. Listen, I have moments where I'm more patient than others. You know, my tolerance, it does eventually run out for bullshit. It just does. It just does. And some nights we have more bullshit in here than others. Oh, thank you. I thrifted the sweater, but I like it a lot. It's very comfy, cozy. It's kind of got like pink and white mixed in there as well. It's a little bit like worn out already because it's thrifted, but I like that. I don't know. There's something about like the starchiness of a new sweater that's not super comfy. I like it when it, when it's already been broken in. Is that the right term for a sweater? That doesn't feel right. That doesn't feel right at all. Hey, Jeffro, what's up? Already broken, yeah. Like me, broken. Hey! What's up, CBJ? We had an interesting night the other night, so I'm wondering if this is the prompt that, like, draws the wildest people out of the woodwork, because it certainly got some last time. When I do like the science denial ones, I don't know. People don't seem as interested in that, but that's one of my favorite topics to discuss because so many creationists don't understand science because they believe absurdities. Yeah, that's true. You know what? Just before a bunch of people ask me, I'm gonna get the like definition of atrocity pulled up. An extremely cruel, violent, or shocking act, often associated with mass violence against civilians, war crimes, and crimes against humanity. It refers to the highest levels of barbarity and is frequently used to describe atrocities committed during war or by oppressive regimes. Sounds about right. Emily over on YouTube says, peanut butter jelly time, peanut butter jelly time. And Amir over on YouTube sent a $5 super chat to say, do robot goats count robot sheep while they sleep? That is a tongue twister. I am not going to try to say it 3 times fast, but thank you so much. Hi, silly goose. Welcome in. Agnostic, hello, hello. Jenna's shadow, hello. My goodness, we've got some people chiming in over on YouTube pretty early. And another 5 from Amir that says, come on, you know it's okay when God does it. They will try to tell it. They really will. The amount of times where it's like, well, God's the creator. He can do whatever he wants. Hello? No. That's not how that works. And then when you hit them with, like, your parents created you because they've just taken you out, they're like, no, it's different because it's God. He's God. Did I get my treat for 10,000? I did. We went to Olive Garden. It doubled as our anniversary dinner. So I also got some of that like tuxedo, or what is it? It's like the black tie mousse cake. It was very good. Very tasty. Um, I don't know what this means in the live chat. I have no clue what that means, so I hope it's not offensive. Real moose? Yes. Freshly killed. Damn it, I did a bit, but I fucked it up. Marissa, thank you. I like the change in my hair. Shit people are just shit people? That's true, but there are also some, I think, good people who believe shit things. And that's the conversations that I'm looking to have. Hi, Pokey. Hi, Matt. This is not a smart show, then. Well, James, if you've been here before, you would know that it's obviously not. Hello, sketch, draw. We never claimed to be smart. That right there. That right fucking there. Thank you for the follow, Ryan. I took down my, like, follower goal request thing because it felt strange, but, like, it's there. Why am I obsessed with Christianity? Plenty of other religions that are actually bad to hate on. Well, Christianity is bad. It's not necessarily an obsession with Christianity. It's the fact that I grew up Christian, so I have a lot more experience with Christianity than with any other religion. I prefer to speak on what I know and what I'm educated on, rather than things I don't know and am not educated on. A lesson that you would do well to learn. We're gonna take on pagans next week. Yeah, I'm gonna get you fuckers. You're too chill and I don't like it. Watch me get flagged for her bullying. Studies do show that atheists tend to have higher IQs. Well, I am very proud to bring down the curb. Do I think I could take the Catholic Pope in a fight? He's from Chicago. I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't think I could take a little Catholic girl in a fight. I'm scrappy, but I don't got that dog in me. I'd get stabbed by the Pope. Oh no. Am I biblically literate? I believe so. I open it and I can read the words there. So I guess that would mean yes. Hi, Kenzie. Is it the human pope or the lizard pope? You just said the same thing twice. We sort of live in a wannabe Christian nationalist theocracy. Yeah. And it's scary. I'm lyrically blibberit. What does atrocities mean? I had this pulled up ahead of time. Woohoo! An extremely cruel, violent, or shocking act often associated with mass violence against civilians. Huh. Biblically literate equals having a dick? Yeah. It seems like that is the bar for a lot of people. How do I explain the sudden explosion of resurrection belief in the 1st century? So you're asking, how do I explain a religious belief emerging? The same way I would with any other religious belief that emerged. How do you explain the sudden explosion in Mormon ideology during Joseph Smith's lifetime, then, if it's not real? How do you explain that, then? Hello? Defend what atrocities? The flood, for one, condoning slavery, having women raped, etc. The claim is 500 witnesses of resurrection. Yeah, the claim is 500 witnesses. We don't actually have 500 witness accounts. Two very different things, right? So there's a difference in having 500 people say, like, hey, here's my testimony that I witnessed this thing, and a guy who says, hey, 500 people saw this happen. Are Mormons male mermaids? Yes. The Little Moorman. The Little Moorman. That would be a great little Disney venture, wouldn't it? Hi, Obsidian Shard. Christian America is the only country that stands against genocide and mass murder? You mean the one that's been funding the genocide in Gaza? By standing against, do you mean funding? Hello? Hey, Preston, good to have you here. Oh, well, at decent-sized balls, clearly you are a very reliable source, and that makes me terrified of your vast knowledge. If you got a TikTok, call in so we can talk about it, because there's certainly several different times where God either commands women to be raped, or has them raped as punishment. There's also the fact that he impregnated a child. Also not great. The Bible is written by a bunch of dudes who ate at Subway at the same time. Fun fact, my appendix gave out in a Subway. I was getting lunch with my friends, and I thought I was just getting my period and my jeans were too tight, so I was like, oh, I need to go sit in your car. No, turns out my appendix... That was fun. Oh yeah, I always fucking forget to like tell people to like and subscribe and all that shit. If you're on TikTok, follow me. If you're on YouTube, subscribe. We're almost at 1,000 on YouTube. We just hit 10K the other night on TikTok, which was awesome. Hey, Dalton, how's it going? Hey, you've seen a clip of me. Well, I'm glad you thought that it was funny. If you're watching me on Rumble, I don't know what the fuck the options are on Rumble. Pray for me? Is that like the little button they have? It's like pray? Probably. Missing appendix buddies. Hey, yeah. I bet the answer is because those bad things are actually good. That's usually what it comes down to, unfortunately. Yeah, we don't really have anyone requesting yet. You just woke up from a nap? Hey, that's funny. I think Joshua also took a nap. Mercy, you're welcome to subscribe with however many accounts you'd like. The Amalekites would like to speak to me? They can't, because God ordered them and their children to be slain. You ever think about the guy who said animals could be evil? Yes, the evil cat guy from the other night. Where he's like, yeah, those animals, they deserved what they got. They got what's coming to them. Ant's Imagination says he is a Christian. Well, if you would like to come up and have a conversation, you are welcome to request. Just hit the little button that looks like a pink and blue person. Oh yeah, the demon babies were another great one. Great one. What bottom? It's a little button at the bottom of the screen. It's like a blue person standing by a pink person. You hit that. Hey, you found it.
Wait.
Hey there. Welcome in. Can I get your name?
Hold on, let me put a microphone on this, or I'll get feedback. Just give me a minute. My name's Ed.
All right. I'm gonna take a quick guess based on Ed's profile picture that he's definitely over 18, and by the fact that he didn't know where the button was.
Yeah, I'm definitely over 18.
What mic are you using?
Definitely over 18, and I'm a Christian.
What mic are you using?
Oh wait, now I don't hear you.
I hear him like stereo.
Sorry
That's
about that.
weird.
Am I getting stereo now? Am I getting feedback?
But it's creepy. What
Is
mic
that
are
worse?
you using?
It's one of these blue mics. It picks up everything, so maybe I'm worse off with it. Okay, let me take this thing off now and try this. Wait,
It feels like you're standing right next to me. It's very unnerving.
Oh, but are you hearing you?
No.
Okay, good. Because the echo of you and my mic would cause a feedback loop between us. You don't want that.
You. Yeah.
You don't want the feedback loop in your
Yeah.
live. So if it's not doing that, we're doing good. It's just that my mic is very sensitive, and I can turn the volume down. So I can do that maybe. But and try to turn maybe the gain down. It's one of these blue mics, they use for ASMR.
Well, yeah. Well, Blue Yeti's not one of the. I'm assuming is it a Yeti or a
Yeah,
Snowball
yeah.
or?
Yeah.
They're. It's not. It's a decent starter USB mic, but it's not one of the best.
Well, it's something from 2018. I bought it in 2018.
That's about when I got mine, but I upgraded to the XLR version of the AT 2020 a couple years later, so I used the Focusrite Scarlett Solo XLR interface. What was that thing you said? Feedback?
Yeah, if your sound is going to go into my mic, you'd hear you in my mic. You don't want the feedback of hearing you in my mic or me in your mic.
I was going to ask your pronouns, but I think we've already got the answer that you use he, him.
Yes.
Yeah. So, you said you're a Christian. Why do Christians defend atrocities?
Who are you talking about?
Christians.
Who?
People who are Christian?
Name. They'll define what a Christian is.
People who follow Christianity.
Define what that means. You're defining the word by the word. What does it mean to you? When you say that?
If someone asks me like what an American is, and I say someone who lives in America, that is accurate.
We don't live in a Christian. Christian is a belief system.
Speak for yourself.
You don't live in it's not a country, so you can't use the same.
Yeah,
language.
no, I'll keep
It's
in
not
mind
a
you don't know
country.
what analogies are. So
I do know what analogies are, and I'm an educated person, so you don't have to treat me like I'm ignorant. So please don't. You don't have to do that, because you don't know who I am and what my knowledge base is. So don't assume you do.
Well, yeah, I know what happens when you assume. So why do Christians, people who follow Christ, defend atrocities?
Okay, so at first I had to go in. I'm a Christian because I believe in Jesus Christ.
Great.
And I believe that Jesus Christ is the Word of God. And I believe in God.
Jesus is the Word of God?
Jesus is the Word of God.
So like when it says in the beginning was the Word and the Word was with God and the Word was God, you're personifying him as...
Not personifying him. He is from God. He is... The closest you can get to an analogy that I think you might... Like, you take a plant. You take a cutting off the plant. That cutting can become a clone. It's from the plant.
It wouldn't be the same plant though. So you're
talking about God. You're talking about something you and me can't conceive.
Ed,
we can't conceive this.
Ed, don't tone it down a little bit, okay?
Oh, sorry. The mic is very sensitive. So if I raise my voice.
I gave you like a pinky nail worth of pushback.
Not even you're not even. I don't know.
Yeah,
okay.
a cutting of
You're
a
right.
plant
You're
is
right.
not the same thing as the original plant.
Well, hold on. You're right, except for it is from the original plant. It's from the original plant. And then when it removes, it becomes a new plant, but it's still from the original plant.
But is it still a part of the original?
Well, you're talking about God. You're not talking about a plant.
I'm
trying
asking.
to put
You really don't understand what analogies are, Ed.
Yes, I do. And what I'm saying is,
You're the one comparing God to a plant, and then you're like, you can't compare God to a plant.
Okay, God is something bigger than us. From this being comes this other being that can also comes back to it in heaven, where we can't even understand or comprehend.
I'm asking you in the framework of the analogy you gave me, that cutting of the plant, is it still part of the original plant?
Well, only when it joins back with the plant. Like you can graft that cutting right back onto the original plant, and now it's back with the plant. You can graft it right. You know what grafting is, right? You can take that plant and graft it back on that plant. You can attach it back on. You know, you can graft, like I usually wouldn't graft the whole plant on. You'd cut a cutting off, you'd graft it onto that plant. Now that will grow off that plant. It will become part of that plant. Now you're talking about it came from it, it goes back in it. Again, I don't fully know that. That is a belief system I have. That is something unknowable. I know it's unknowable, though. I'm telling you, to speak of God, that's why it's hard to have these discussions.
You can't get upset with me for using the framework of the analogy you gave me.
But I'm not upset with you.
Okay, great. I'd like to get back on track then.
I will take you off track easily, so please feel free to redirect me anytime you want.
Yeah, so defining whether or not, like, Christ is the Word of God, or is God, or is with God, or is from God, not really pertinent to the conversation at hand, the topic of the stream.
Okay.
The topic of the stream is why do Christians, so people who follow Christ, defend atrocities?
Well, here, I would probably start to get to more agreeing with you than disagreeing with you in this. Like, because I don't think you're not saying that they're wrong to believe in Jesus. You're saying, why do they defend atrocities? Is that what you're saying?
They are wrong to believe in Jesus, but that's not necessarily the topic tonight. The topic is why do Christians defend atrocities?
Oh, yeah, but there's a difference between a Christian who believes in Jesus and a Christian who is agnostic.
A Christian who doesn't believe in Jesus would not be a Christian.
I beg to differ because I've gone to church with people who are agnostic.
If they don't believe in Christ, they are not Christian.
I know, but they go to church and they claim to be Christians. But you talk to them and they're agnostic.
Okay,
like
I don't care what they claim to be.
Well,
definitionally, if they don't follow Christ, they are not a Christian.
Many Christians are agnostic. Those Christians will claim to be Christians and they're still agnostic. So you have to include them in the Christians who defend atrocities, because they may be the ones that defend atrocities and not the ones who actually believe in Jesus.
They wouldn't defend the atrocities of a God they don't believe in.
What atrocities are you talking about that God did? You talking Old Testament atrocities?
Well, there's Old and New Testament, but there's some particularly bad ones in the Old, right?
Well, what I cannot go. That's like you're talking about fantasy. You're talking about a past that doesn't exist.
The entire
anymore.
Bible is fantasy.
All of past is fantasy in the same way. Everything of the past is what? Fictional. Fictional. It's fictional.
No.
What we know. Okay. All right. You tell me a story from the other day of yours. It could be simple.
I ate some frozen waffles for breakfast.
Yeah. All right. What's the facts?
The fact?
Like, prove it to me. Prove it to me that you ate that breakfast right now. Prove what you're saying to be true.
Prove what I'm saying to be. That's a completely different thing than what you just asked me
to do. How is it? It's your memory. That's all it is. You're recapturing something that happened to you and you're giving it to me as a memory. Are you saying right now there's a waffle in front of you Are you actually going to re-experience that experience right now?
You think
can't go
know
back in
so
the past.
much more
The
than you
past is done.
actually do, Ed.
What's that? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Just because you cannot prove every single action you've ever taken does not mean that it is fictional. Fictional would mean that it did not occur in reality. Me eating a waffle occurred in reality.
I can, in my imagination, create a realistic story using realistic things. It's still fictional when I make it up in my head. And when I make
But
it up
that
in my head,
doesn't mean that everything in the past is fiction.
Memory is faulty. As it is, it's faulty. Nobody's memory is 100%. I got great memory, but it's faulty because I fill in the blanks with other things.
Ed,
it's not 100% accurate. You can't rely on memory 100%.
Ed, we are always living in the past. It takes our brain.
You might be.
No, we literally are. Ed, let me finish my fucking sentences on my own show. Our brains take a tiny bit of time to process the world around us.
Hey,
By
that
the
was
time
beautiful.
we process things, they have already happened. So we are constantly living in the past. That would mean the entirety of our experience is fictional and not occurring in reality. That's nonsensical.
Yes.
So
exactly.
nothing is
But you're
real,
right.
is your point. Hey, can you turn your gain down a little bit more?
Hold on. Okay. Well, if that was, am I getting that? I don't know. Get it big sharper. Let me know. Am I turning it up or down? Up or down? Up or down?
Down.
Up or down? Is that good? Is that what you want?
Just back off of it a little bit, please.
Oh wait, is it getting? I mean, is that better or worse?
That's fine.
No, I mean because I can go up or down. I gotta look at it.
It's fine there. You were just peeking.
It usually the gain's gonna pick up a lot more if it's not turned down. Very sensitive mic. Sounds like you have experience with this mic.
Yeah.
You know, and anyways, go ahead.
Yeah. So you're trying to say that there is no such thing as reality by what you're saying. So that just doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Right? And unless you're trying to like pivot to hard solipsism. But again, this is distracting from the actual prompt, which is why do Christians defend atrocities?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If I go around and I'm trying to figure your logic, okay, you're saying it's somebody believes in Jesus Christ, they worship Jesus Christ, and they follow the teachings of Jesus Christ, which if you understand those teachings, which would go against any atrocity. I'm against atrocities, and everybody I know who is an actual Christian is against all atrocities. So I don't know a Christian who is pro-atrocity. I don't know one.
Do you think the flood happened?
Yes.
Can you tell me that it was bad?
Again, I don't know any Christian who is pro-atrocity.
Can you tell me the flood was bad, that God did a bad thing?
I don't know Noah. I didn't meet Noah. I don't know Noah.
This has nothing to do with Noah. Noah survived. Tell me God did a bad thing by flooding the world.
I don't understand why that atrocity would happen.
You don't understand why it would happen?
I don't understand.
God claimed because the world was evil. That's why you said it happened.
Yeah, but
other people claim because there was Nephilim.
That's what a sinful man wrote in a book. You're saying that that's not God. Nothing of this world is God.
So you don't believe
Jesus
the Bible?
is the only thing. Well, I believe it's a holy book written with inspiration and the most authoritative book ever written by man, except for I do believe the authority is in God. I believe God's above that. And it's not a book.
It doesn't know what bats are or how vaginas work, but sure, we'll say it's the most important, most valid book, whatever.
It doesn't know. You're talking about do you understand how large it is? That what a Bible is not a one book. It's a bibliography of books. It's not just one book and written over time. You understand that. So you understand it's not one book. You understand it's multiple books written over multiple times.
And
also the stories are incomplete. But if you read them, they're incomplete. These are stories written over a course of millennial time, anything
over the course of millennial. Okay.
Okay, whatever. I don't know how old these stories are. They were told probably verbally to verbally. We don't know exact age. And you would believe how old do you think the book is? What's the oldest books that you know of that we can refer to with any historical reference. Name other ones that are probably give you more information than the Bible. Like name some books from. We're talking. How old do you think the Bible is?
Yeah, I would say I was particularly inspired by this hoe has cockroaches in her crib.
What book is that?
Oh, it's pretty self-explanatory. It's a book where a hoe has cockroaches in her crib.
Who wrote that?
Oh, I forget the guy's name. He's on TikTok. Very authoritative, though.
That's rude. Why would you do that? Why would you say that to me? Why would you do that? Why would you start like that type of insulting? Is that what you do?
How is it insulting?
Is that what you're about? That's barely. That's nonsense. That's nonsense. You just said nonsense. Why? Why did you do that?
No, it's a real
book.
Why
did you? I'm just wondering. Are the people that follow you, they like that? Is that you're just doing it to make somebody giggle? Because you're thinking you're speaking to an idiot who believes in Jesus? Because I'm just an idiot who believes in Jesus?
Can I get ones in chat if you giggled?
I hope you get a bunch.
Thank you for that.
Why would somebody give you
Ed.
a one for I would give you a one for a giggle. What do you mean giggle? You know your audience. You got how many? I don't even know how big of an audience you got. I don't. This channel has no. I don't have really an audience. I have a voice, but my voice is just my voice. No real audience.
Okay.
And an educated voice. An educated voice. I am in no way a Bible scholar. That is not my expertise at all, and I won't claim it. I'm a licensed clinical psychologist, so things you may speak of, I may know of, and even some of them I might agree of. But in my profession, it leans towards atheist and atheistic views, and I'm used to sharing from an atheistic viewpoint.
You said psychologist, not a psychiatrist?
Yes.
Okay, because I was going to say I usually don't recommend that like doctors get high on their own supply, but if you were a psychiatrist, I was going to highly recommend it. Ed, it's just that you came in here, immediately started like talking down to me and condescending, assuming that I didn't know very basic things and that you needed to explain them to me. In some circles, that's called mansplaining, right?
But I wasn't. I'm sorry if that came off that way. That was not my intention, and I apologize if I did that. That was not my intention.
Okay, well, I ask that you recognize it going forward. I was a Christian till I was 17. I went to a religious school for preschool, elementary, middle school, high school. I studied apologetics all throughout middle and high school. I'm well acquainted with the Bible. I'm very familiar with it, and I know what I'm talking about.
Can I say that helps me to respect your opinion more, that at least you must have given it a chance?
Great. So yeah, I'm familiar with the Bible. I know that it has more than just one book in it, yes. In the context of the Bible, God said that he was going to flood the earth because it was evil, it was corrupted, that the only remaining righteous people were Noah and his wife, his sons, and their wives. That's why he decided to flood the earth. He said that he regretted or repented of creating
he said that?
life on earth.
He said that?
Well, that's what the book says that he said. And if you're going to start saying that everything in the Bible is just like hearsay written down by men, well, yeah, I would say the entire thing is fictional, written down by men.
I'm not saying hearsay. I'm saying everything's written by sinful men.
Okay, so is it God-breathed, divine, inspired word, or is it just bullshit written down by men? You can't have both.
No, you can't have both because it's written by sinful men. Some of it might be discernible,
you can't have
and some
your
might
cake
not.
and eat
Yes,
it
you
too.
can. No, you can because human beings had their hands in it. That's why you have to discern what you read with your heart.
Then
and
it's
if you
not
don't,
divinely
you won't
inspired.
get to the truth. No, divinely inspired has to be tested by your spirit. You can find God, and you can only find it within you. You can't find God within that book, because God don't live there. God ain't in that book. Those are words written by men.
Ed, what you're essentially saying is you get to decide what you think is true in the Bible and what is not, and that is not a reliable way to determine truth.
Of course, of course, that is where I'm going to go. I need to be able to discern it myself. I need for myself to discern God. Nobody else can discern God for me. You can't. I can't discern God for you. You need to find God yourself.
It's not about discerning God. It's
No,
about
it is about discerning God.
It's
because
about
that's about my
the
relationship with God.
trustworthiness of the Scripture itself.
Well,
if
then
you
maybe it's
say,
not
"Well, I get
trustworthy.
to decide
Maybe it's
based
not
on my,"
trustworthy.
it is not.
Maybe it's not trustworthy. Okay, I'm not going to disagree with you. I just think it's the most authoritative text written by man. Men aren't trustworthy.
It doesn't know what a hymen is or how it works.
Okay, because it was written by men. Why would they know what that is?
Okay, so
why
should
would a
I
bunch of men
listen to
know
their
that?
authority?
Is it a medical text? Is it a medical text?
Why
would
should
you
I
go to
listen
the
to their
Bible?
authority if they don't know basic fucking facts?
Well, maybe you shouldn't. Maybe you should find God a different way. Maybe God should be sought out differently for you. Maybe you're going to need to seek out God differently. I just think the words of Jesus are a good thing to follow, and I would stick with that. And
the words of Jesus.
Yeah, just the words, just the quoted words of Jesus. Just read all those and then.
Sure. So should I follow the quoted words of Jesus and call a woman a racial slur?
Well, what would he say? What woman was he speaking to, and what did he say?
The Canaanite woman when he called her a dog.
And wait, how is that a racial slur?
In the context of the time, it was.
Oh, because Canaanites were thought to be dogs?
Essentially, yes.
Why
because
were Canaanites thought to be dogs? What was something about the Canaanite? Cain. This is.
Dude,
the
pump the
offshoot
brakes.
Of
What the fuck
Noah?
is happening
I'm trying
here?
to think of who.
No, pump the brakes, dude. Because I asked you about a thing that Jesus said, and you're like, "But Noah." I
have to go down to the who we're talking about.
Yeah, I heard your
Canaanite
train of
is.
thought,
and why would
and you're
Jesus say that? So I'm actually that's my mind. I'm sorry, my mind processing. I'm sorry. I have a little bit of autism. I mean, I'm sorry if I'm not perfect for you in conversation. I'm not perfect with anybody in conversation. I apologize for being on the spectrum. It's okay for you to maybe attack me on the spectrum because I'm white and I'm male, but but don't dare talk about a Canaanite. What the hell are we talking about here?
Hey, Ed.
I want to figure out why.
Hey, Ed.
You're talking about they were
hey,
made
Ed.
into slaves, right? That's the slave.
Hey, Ed.
Slave tribe.
If you could stop talking for a second. I am autistic. So what the fuck do you think you're doing by crying victim?
Ain't it? Well, I'm saying that if you're going to, that means you understand why I might
never said anything about you being white. I said
but again, I'm going to tell you this. I say stupid things at times. And if you're autistic and you're going to attack me for saying things that just because I'm saying what's on my mind, you're autistic and you are going to criticize me for doing something you must do yourself on a regular basis?
I must
you know what I'm saying? Well, I would say if certain traits we might have as somebody with autism,
spectrum,
like speaking.
Guy.
Well, you're right.
You would think you would know that if you're clinical psychologist?
I don't know you. Why would I know you where you are? You just told me something that doesn't seem true to you, and I don't to you. I don't know you.
That doesn't seem true. Fuck you, dude.
I don't know. I don't see you. I don't see it. I don't. You're
not a fucking psychologist.
I don't know
fucking psychologist would be like, you don't seem autistic to me.
No, I don't know you. I don't have a diagnostic. I'm not diagnosing you. Why would I know you're autistic?
I just told you I am.
I know, but why would I believe you just because something?
Why would I believe you?
You don't have to. You don't have to. I'm just saying. I mean, I'm not diagnosing you. And
do I need to show you my stuffed animal collection? Then would you believe me?
No,
what the fuck's it gonna take?
That would reinforce it. But it would be indications of your claim. And you would do. Should I show you a collection of things or my obsessions that we can? So we
can't show dildos on screen, Ed.
What? That's making some assumptions. I'm not even sure what you'd be assuming. What are you assuming I collect? That you would say I couldn't show it on screen. You can't even see anything on screen.
I said you can't show dildos. So I was very specifically joking that you collect dildos.
Oh, why would you assume that?
It was a little jokety joke, Ed.
That's not a joke. That's an insult. That's.
Oh, it's true? If it's not a joke, then that must be true. Whoa.
No,
Crazy.
No, it's not a. No.
I respect the grind, Ed.
No, it's a joke that you made, not a joke I made. It's an insult you made, not an insult I made. Therefore, I make no claim off your joke and insult. It makes no sense why you'd say that.
What's wrong about having dildos?
Why would you say that to me?
You just kind of seem like the type of guy who would.
You seem like I seem like what kind of guy has a collection of dildos?
One who appreciates the finer things in life, Ed.
What finer light? What are I mean? Do you have a collection of dildos that you find that's nice for you in your life?
I'm
I mean,
adding to
sure.
it slowly.
Okay, well, congratulations. I don't have one, and I never had a desire to have one. But God bless you if you have many. And maybe if you're advertising and you're selling a certain style of dildo or size of dildo or shape of dildo, I'm not interested. But I'm sure there's a market for it.
This stream is sponsored by Bad Dragon.
Now, what is Bad Dragon? Is that a dildo?
Yeah, it's a company.
I wouldn't know. What do they make?
They make monstrously sized dildos.
Oh, you have a good sense of humor, don't you?
Yes.
Tickled on that doesn't take away the insult, because you've been nitpicking me a little bit. So don't nitpick when you can't stand the nitpick. You're gonna nitpick me on little nonsense things I say. I gotta nitpick you on little nonsense things.
Thank you,
say,
Andrew Z, for the dildo joke. Appreciate it. Sorry, what were you saying, Ed? Some bullshit?
Oh, I don't know. I forgot.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So if you don't believe that the Bible is reliable, I don't really know what conversation we're going to be able to have. Because the atrocities that Christians typically defend are the ones that God does in the Bible.
Just say you're welcome. Or thank you. Just say thank you.
For what?
It's made for decent conversation. I appreciate it. You're welcome.
I've been excruciatingly dragging you through this, Ed.
I know, but that's it sounds. I can't imagine it's hurting your feet at all. So you're welcome.
I mean,
welcome.
I can accomplish that on my own.
I would tell you this. Yeah, probably. Well, yeah. You're probably right. All right.
Yeah.
All right. You could. It's okay. You're saying goodbye. And
yeah, I can. I have, and I will. So yeah, have an evening. Fucking what? Bye. Hey, welcome in. Can I get your name, age, and pronouns?
Oh, April, and I'm 26.
All right, and what pronouns should we use for you?
She, her.
Sweet. And April, what is your religion or lack thereof?
I'm definitely more leaning on the Christian side, I would say.
Why do Christians defend atrocities?
I think, like, the hard truth would be because we understand that God isn't just a good God that is okay with injustice. I would say that he hates it. And so therefore, if we are to believe that he is the creator and he has the right to decide whether or not who lives or dies or what have you, he has every right to, like...
Sorry, go on.
So, you have a nice voice.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, he has every right to... fucked up to humans, yes, but to cleanse the world of what he thinks is messed up, right? Of, like, evil. Which I think we can both agree that there's, like, a lot of evil in the world, and a lot of it is caused by men, by humans, not just, like, man alone, although I think we can agree that man is largely a perpetrator of great evil. But, he took it into his own hands, at least at the time, right? In Old Testament times, to cleanse the world, to kind of, like, give the world the greatest beginning.
Yeah.
He thought was right.
But let me ask you this. Were there babies?
Oh yeah. There were babies, I mean, women, and of course the world is functioning like it is now, right?
So
but
he couldn't have come up with a way where he didn't have to drown all the babies?
What would happen with the babies when the parents were gone?
I mean, he's
they
God.
He
could have done anything.
He could have. He definitely could have. I mean, well, like, what specifically would you have wanted him to do?
I mean, he could have sent, like, angels down to care for them. He is all powerful. He could have manifested himself as parents for all of them and raised them in righteousness. Like anything but drown them to death.
Hold on. Okay, me personally, I'm not gonna give you like the best answer because I genuinely don't know. I'm not God. I wouldn't have the answers you would see because humans, we want, like, I think from movies and books and for things that we love, we want that good resolution, that happy ending, but we again see in the real world that life is not like that. So like we can definitely go on to think about all the possible solutions to the problem.
It kind of sounds like you're just hitting me with a "we can't understand the mind of God" sort of thing, which is just it's kind of a thought-stopping cliche. But if you are, sorry, I gotta fucking get this guy out of here real quick. If you don't want to talk about something that like God did that was an atrocity, we can talk about some of his laws that were atrocious, such as condoning slavery. Why did God condone chattel slavery?
Like chattel as an animal or like human?
Human. Chattel is slavery in which people are kept as property.
I would not say that he condones slavery in the sense of like he was okay with necessarily. Okay, let me, because I do understand completely.
Because I've got the verses
like,
up. So
a lot of the time there was like,
how about you let me read it before you make claims, just to
let me
preemptively save you
that. Tell me where it is. Yeah,
Leviticus 25, 44 through 46.
Okay, hold up, give me a second.
I'm gonna read the NRSVUE. As for the male and female slaves whom you may have, it is from the nations around you that you may acquire male and female slaves. You may also acquire them from the aliens residing with you and from their families who are with you who have been born in your land. They may be your property. You may keep them as a possession for your children after you, for them to inherit as property. These you may treat as slaves, but as for your fellow Israelites, no one shall rule over the other with harshness.
Okay, while Moses was on the Mount Sinai, the Lord said to him, "Give the following instructions to the people of Israel. When you have entered the land I am giving you, the land itself must observe a Sabbath rest before the Lord every 7th year." Oh, sorry, I'm going all the way back. Hold on.
Yeah, Leviticus 25, 44 through 46.
44. One of your fellow Israelites falls into poverty. Okay, okay, I'm gonna do a little bit further back than that because I'm gonna read this in a little bit more context. So it's I'm reading NLT. If you want to actually look at NLT, that way we can have like the same reference.
Sure. Let me just. Oh, sorry. I must have heard the word. He won't stop doing this.
Don't ask me what the context is, but all I know is it's context.
Give me a second.
He just keeps appearing like that. I don't know how to make him stop.
I mean, it's catchy.
It is, isn't it? Don't you know?
Let me know when you're ready.
Yeah, I have NLT pulled up, and it's pretty much the same thing.
Yeah, it should generally be. I'm reading a little bit further back to 35.
That's okay. We're not going to sit here and listen to you read like 20 verses.
Then I can't necessarily say that this is honest. Because there is an actual explanation as to why this is happening.
Is there any situation in which slavery is justifiable?
There is, in a sense of like, okay, so right now in the Middle East, right, there's slavery for those that are like quite literally incapable of taking care of themselves.
The verses
you're so poor.
The verses you're wanting to read are about how the Israelites are to be treated.
Yes.
Saying which is like different. that's distinct from what we're talking about, because it says, like, you can purchase these slaves, those you can treat as property. The Israelites you cannot. The verses that you're wanting to read are detailing out how the Israelites are to be treated, which is not the same as how the foreigners were being treated.
Okay, so the other people around that nation or whatever it was.
Yeah. So the Israelites, they had a different set of rules because the Israelites were seen as God's chosen people, right? So they had different rules. Generally, they served for a set number of years, or they released during the year of Jubilee, unless their slave masters like tricked them by giving them a wife, and they decided they wanted to stay with the wife because then they'd have to remain a slave forever. But generally, they were let go after a certain amount of time. The slaves that were brought from foreign nations were not allowed to go free after a certain amount of years. They remained the property of their owners. Like in the verses that I read, when it says that they can be passed on to their children as an inheritance. So that is a different set of rules. So reading the rules for the Israelites that were acting as indentured servants is not going to contextualize the rules for chattel slavery that God is detailing in the verses I read to you before.
Oh, give me a... Hold on. I'm sorry. Give me a second. My phone is about to die. Hold on.
Well, I've got you guys here. Hello, TikTok. If you're not already following me, you're straight. Ew. See what you did? Gross. And YouTube, if you're not subscribed, you won't get to brag that you were here before I hit 1,000. So you're gonna want to do that, so you can say that you were here before 1,000. So.
Okay. I mean, slavery, I think in general, we can all agree is pretty messed up. Why?
Astute observation, yes.
Yeah, why God would allow it, I'm not really sure. I do know, though, that some people were protected under slavery and were actually taken care of in slavery, and it's not necessarily condoning.
Saying you may do slavery is condoning it.
No, it's not condoning the horrible treatment of slaves, although that did happen. But
well, I get to do what someone has been spamming in chat, begging me to read, and I get to read to you from Exodus 21 next. So this is another set of rules. I'll read the NLT again, just for you.
Yeah.
So Exodus 21, verses 20 and 21. If a man beats his male or female slave with a club, and the slave dies as a result, the owner must be punished. But if the slave recovers within a day or two, then the owner shall not be punished, since the slave is his property.
Let me see. As a slave, she will not be freed. In case of personal injury. Hold on.
21, 20, and 21.
If a man beats his male or female slaves with a club, and the slave dies as a result, the owner must be punished. But if the slave recovers in a day or two, then the owner must not be punished. And suppose two men are fighting.
Yeah, that goes on to another set of rules where it's like very pro-choice. Yeah, so this passage says that as long as your slave doesn't immediately die as a result, you're allowed to beat them.
Yeah. Okay, I do know, like, generally Old Testament, especially Exodus, Leviticus, so, hold on, give me a sec. So they're like the books of Moses, right? So Moses is like this whole fucking individual that we're definitely...
Thanks for the confetti, Shadow. Yeah, so these are rules supposedly given by God.
Yeah, to Moses. And essentially from there, Moses is like telling the Israelites, hey, this is how God wants us to live, right? But we do understand, at least generally most Christians that are actually trying to read their Bible and so on and so forth, rather than making like crazy ass claims, we understand that the beginning of the Old Testament, Genesis through Deuteronomy, and even like past that, it's basically describing how God is making broken people that literally always make fucked up decisions, horrible decisions, how he's trying to navigate through that.
And his solution to make them better was to let them have slaves?
No. It's not the solution to make anybody better, because he understands that they're not. Which is why, like, when you were talking earlier about how in the flood he regretted making man, or Moses said that he regretted making man, and that he was going to destroy the earth, right? He completely understands humanity is evil. And so he was trying to bring in regulation to the world, knowing full well that humanity was going to continue to choose evil, no matter what. So,
okay, why let them have slaves and beat them if you're gonna give them?
Because they were gonna have slaves anyway. Okay. Because they were gonna beat them anyway. Like a good example is Sarai and Hagar, like her
April,
slave Hagar.
I need you to hold up for a second, because this is the type of thing that I hear when people are like talking about like pew control laws, when they're like, people are gonna do it anyway, so why make laws against it? The purpose of making laws is so that you can punish, or you can.
But we do have gun laws.
The purpose of laws is to prevent certain behaviors and make it punishable if they're carried out. So, yeah, make the law if it's a bad thing, so that way you can punish people if they break those laws, and you can dissuade people from doing certain behaviors.
I mean, this wasn't really for that, though. This was so that God can identify the Israelites from the rest of the world.
But April, it
wasn't in service of trying to make a moral good for everyone. It was a service in trying to make a defining morality for the Israelite people. Now, that may not make them good people because they are not good people, but those laws were specifically written to completely split apart the Israelites from the rest of the world.
It's completely splitting them apart would have been to have no slavery.
I wouldn't say so. I would say that there would still be slavery because it's been so embedded in the history of the Israelite people.
So he can tell them to cut part of their penises off. He can tell them he did. He can tell them to burn women in the fire. He can tell them to slaughter their cattle as a burnt offering to him. Yes. They can tell him to stone women if they don't bleed on their wedding night. But telling them, hey, don't beat your slaves is a bit too far?
What do you mean?
That's what your argument seems to be.
No.
Because everything I just mentioned are actual rules that God gave.
And just because they're rules that God gave doesn't necessarily mean that people follow them, because we have plenty of examples in the Old Testament that humanity still refused to follow God. And
but April, I'm critiquing the God giving the laws, not whether or not people followed them.
Yeah, but the laws were not meant to necessarily describe a moral good. The laws in the New Testament, though, like the New Testament is more or less more moral good.
What does Jesus say about the laws in the New Testament? Like, in the New Testament, what does Jesus say about the Old Testament laws?
That he wasn't there to, like, necessarily to change them. He wasn't there to change them. No.
He wasn't there to abolish them.
Actually make them clear.
No, he reiterates multiple times that you should still keep all of the commandments in the old law.
But he literally shows us that we cannot keep the commandments. We are literally unable to, which is exactly why he gave his life for us. Because his sacrifice literally paid the toll. We no longer have to follow those laws because of his sacrifice.
For truly I tell you, until heaven and earth pass away, not one letter, not one stroke of a letter will pass from the law until all is accomplished. Therefore, whoever breaks one of the least of these commandments and teaches others to do the same will be called least in the kingdom of heaven. But whoever does them and teaches them will be called great in the kingdom of heaven. So it seems, April, that by not following the commandments of having slaves, you are going to be considered least in the kingdom of heaven.
But he literally covers us from that. And also, least in the kingdom is not a bad thing. It's actually the most exalted people in the kingdom of heaven.
Least of the kingdom is most exalted.
Yeah, the least of these. I mean, it's how they would describe. If you go to like the part where they describe John, I don't know if it's in Matthew or if it's in.
You're trying so hard to make this make sense.
I'm really not trying that hard. It's
okay, well that's a comfort, because at least this isn't your best. Those who are called the least would not be considered
in the kingdom of heaven
the
are
most.
like literally the most exalted. So,
no.
Give me a second. Because they were describing how John the Baptist was like the greatest man or something like that, like actual human man that wasn't God, right? That wasn't Jesus. But even then, he's not greater than the least of these. That's the quote. Give me a second, let me find it.
When we're talking about who is the most exalted in heaven,
Hold on.
Because it says, whoever does them and teaches them will be called great in the kingdom of heaven. And this is the opposite of being called the least. So least would be the opposite of great, which would be not great. So you would be called not great.
No, that's not what that was.
I'm reading the verse to you. It says,
Matthew?
Yeah, I'm in Matthew 5. Therefore, whoever breaks one of these commandments and teaches others to do the same will be called least in the kingdom of heaven. But whoever does them and teaches them will be called great in the kingdom of heaven. That directly contrasts least in the kingdom of heaven with great in the kingdom of heaven. Which would mean that those who are the least in heaven are the opposite of those who are great, which would mean that they are not great.
Hold on, give me a second. What part are you on?
I'm in Matthew 5, and what I read to you was verse 19.
19. Teaching about the laws. Don't misunderstand why I have come. I did not come to abolish the law of Moses or writings of the prophets. I came to accomplish their purpose. I tell you the truth until... Okay, that literally says the answer.
Yes, the answer that I told you.
No. He's saying that he came there as the perfect person.
For truly I tell you, until heaven and earth pass away, not one letter, not one stroke of a letter will pass from the law until all is accomplished. Therefore, whoever breaks one of the least of these commandments and teaches others to do the same will be called least in the kingdom of heaven.
What are the 10 commandments? The 10 commandments were
the
not
law.
The laws that the Lord gave Moses.
Correct. And he says to keep the law, not the commandments.
No.
Hey, engineer.
The commandments are the law. Like, the actual 10 commandments were what Jesus was talking about in this. No. Not the laws that he gave them into how running their... Into
He's
how
talking
they
about the law.
Their government.
Levitical law is what this is referencing.
No, he's not talking about just Levitical. He's talking about the 10 commandments. It literally says it.
Where?
Yeah, okay. So if you ignore the least commandment and teach others to do the same, you will be called the least in the kingdom of heaven. But that's like the actual commandment.
No, it doesn't mean the 10 commandments. It means commandments from the law. There's like 600 plus laws in the Old Testament.
5:17 through 48, Jesus and the law. In the Old Testament, God gave laws to his people to help them love him with all their hearts and minds and love others unselfishly. Throughout Israel's history, however, these laws had often been misunderstood and misapplied. by Jesus' time, religious leaders added a confusing mass of rules to the laws that
What are
did
you
nothing
reading?
to the NLT.
No,
So mine
what are
is
you
like
reading?
an actual like study section. Hold on. I don't know if you let me see. Let me see if I can show you a
It seems like it's just an explanation in your Bible that's trying to make this make sense to you.
well, it's not necessarily to make sense to just me as an individual, but like as people as a
Yeah,
whole.
but you are reading it as trying to make sense to yourself. Yeah, of course your Bible is going to say, actually, Jesus didn't mean that we had to keep all the rules.
Well, I mean,
he
if
just
we
meant
wanna
that we only had to
understand the
follow a
Bible-
couple of the rules.
No, that's not at all what, especially not what I just read.
That is what you just read, because you're saying instead of 613 rules, they had to follow 10.
The 10 Commandments, which was the actual, like...
What's the 10th commandment,
laws to
April?
show, like, what the people of Israel were supposed to be following.
No, what is the 10th commandment?
Oh, excuse me, sorry. That you shall not covet.
Covet what?
Anything.
No, what does it say?
That you shall not covet.
It says more. What does the verse say you shall not covet?
I mean, you can tell me.
It says you shouldn't covet their property, including their wife, their ox, or their slaves.
Okay.
Literally, the 10th commandment
Yeah, we
has
shouldn't
slavery
covet
built
anything.
into it.
That we should not covet our slaves?
It has slavery built into the commandment.
Okay, but that's not a problem. We already know that this is an established thing.
Slavery's not a problem?
I mean, in the sense of, like, it's not that it's not a problem. And, I mean, I
So-
think we can all agree that nowadays, especially
So
now...
Jesus is saying you only have to follow the 10 commandments, none of which is don't have slaves. In fact, one of the commandments permits you to have slaves.
But
So
he didn't have slaves. So, like, if we're supposed to live exactly like
April,
Jesus...
I need you to listen to what I'm saying. Your argument, which this isn't even true, that this is only referring to the 10 commandments, still fails because within the 10 commandments, it permits slavery.
But if we're supposed to live, at least biblically, like Jesus, and actually live by his example, and we know that he didn't have slaves, what would make it seem okay for us to have slaves?
He just didn't have enough money to have slaves. He never condemned slavery. He
Yeah, but
only ever condoned
any of the
slavery.
disciples, and I think Paul was probably one of the richest of all of them.
He
and
never
had
he never said slavery was bad. He only ever condoned
I'm
slavery.
pretty sure we can see and understand by the lives that they live that none of them having slaves kind of solidifies that they weren't okay with having slaves.
No, you know what would have solidified that they weren't okay with having slaves? If they ever said, "Hey, don't have slaves."
But God understands that that's literally something that is going to happen. Which, I mean, if anything,
All
is more of a
all
reassurance.
sin would be going to happen. So why have any laws whatsoever then?
To differentiate you.
Okay,
from
so then
the
differentiate them
actual
by
world.
not permitting slavery, April.
That's fine, but what about the reassurance for those that are in slavery?
The reassurance that they're going to be owned as property and they can be beaten within an inch of their life?
No, that there is still hope for those that have to be in slavery. I mean, me
They
and
don't
you
have
are
to
privileged
be.
as hell. Me and you are privileged as hell. We are not living in other sides of the world where
They do
slavery
not
is
have
quite
to
literally
be
the only
enslaved.
way they can live. That's ignorant. That is literally ignorant. There's so many slaves right now that cannot
calling-
escape slavery.
You-
They cannot escape slavery.
They can't
because of
escape slavery
poverty.
because people are enslaving them.
Yes, which is exactly what God is going to free the slave from.
Then why didn't he say, "Hey, don't enslave people," April?
I don't know. I mean, surely.
Why
I
did
don't
he
know.
why
I
did he
literally
not
don't
only
know,
give
but I
them
do
permission
know-
but explicitly tell them how to enslave people? Why did he give them rules on how they could beat enslaved people? Why did he never ever once say that you should not enslave people if his intention is that no one be enslaved? Why do the least to discourage slavery and only encourage it every single stop point if he doesn't want them to enslave people?
I'm not sure. I'm not gonna lie to you. I genuinely don't know, but I do know that God provides freedom for the slaves. Like, in the sense of maybe not here in the physical life, but in the afterlife, in the perfect world. Which, most of us don't want to hear that. We don't want to hear about, like, the actual cruelty of humans.
It's not a good explanation.
Maybe it's not, but it isn't necessarily something that me and you can stop the rest of the world from doing. I mean, me and you can understand why not to do it, because it's wrong to especially have people enslaved and treat them without dignity.
Bible doesn't say that. Bible says it's fine.
No, it doesn't.
I read to you where it says it's fine.
Okay, but we also have plenty of examples where slaves are also, like, given special attention by God. Like, again, Hagar. When she's suffering at the hands of, what's-his-face, and Sarai, he literally has an encounter with her. You mean
when he sends a slave back to the people who abused and raped her? That's supposed to be a victory story?
And an outcome that came out of it. A good outcome that came out of it.
The good outcome of being forced back to your abuser and rapist.
There was an actual thing that came out of it. Like, there was actual
her
victory.
Being forced to go back to her abuser and rapist.
She wasn't forced. She was told by God, but she didn't have to. She could have easily stayed away.
What happens to people who don't do what God says in the Old Testament?
I mean, a lot of things happen.
Are they ever good?
People that don't do what God tells them to.
Are they ever good?
Have either died or have at some point or another still succumb to God.
So there's not really a time in which someone defies what God tells them to do and it's a good outcome?
No, there are plenty of times where people defy what God tells us to do.
And it has a good outcome?
Kind of why, like, we're in the mess that we're in.
And it has a good outcome.
Like, when they defy God?
Yes.
Oh no, I don't think there ever will be.
So that's not really a choice. If it is, you do what I say or something horrible happens to you, that's not a choice. That is a threat.
That is still a choice. You just don't like the outcome of it.
Okay, April, if someone holds a sharp object to your throat and says, do what I say or I'm going to hurt you, are they giving you a choice?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, if they point a pew-pew to your head and say, if you don't do precisely what I want...
I could easily just accept death, or I could choose to comply.
You do not understand what consent is, April.
It is under duress, but it's still a choice.
That's not an actual choice. That is a threat. That is coercion under threat of violence.
Coercion, but it is still a choice that you make.
That's not a choice.
It's like you wake up every day and you choose to fucking wake up and get out of bed and brush your teeth.
I don't choose to wake up. What?
I mean, you can easily go back to sleep, can you not? Unless, I mean...
Waking up is not something that I can choose. It happens.
Okay.
But the point is, forcing someone to do something under threat of severe harm to them is not giving them a choice.
It is.
No, it is not. And that...
I mean,
Christians constantly don't understand the concept of consent. And this is just another example of that, April. And it's really discouraging to hear from someone who is a woman that you don't understand how consent works. Because saying that you're still given a choice, that is the type of rhetoric that can be used to blame rape victims, like you're doing with Hagar kind of right now, by saying, oh, well, she had a choice.
That's not what I'm saying.
So, like, if a man holds a pew-pew to someone's head and says, I'm going to have sex with you, and if you say no, I'm going to pull the trigger, did she choose to have sex with him?
Wait, what?
If a man holds a pew-pew to a woman's head and says, I'm going to have sex with you, and if you say no, I'm going to pull the trigger.
She'd be making the choice to have sex in order
she's choosing to have sex with him. Okay, so it's not grape if you hold a pew-pew to someone's head.
It doesn't necessarily
So it's not
Good thing.
if she chooses to have sex, then it wouldn't be grape. So it's not grape if a man holds a
I'm
pew
not
pew to
saying
your head.
that, am I?
Well, if
Calm down.
if she
I'm not
chose
saying
to
that.
have
That is still rape.
sex,
That is still wrong.
grape.
And
Yeah,
that's
say
still something
grape.
that God condemns.
Well, no, it's not
Something
actually.
actually
He doesn't
condemns.
really
Yes, it is.
condemn grape that much in the
Yes, it
Bible.
is. That whole rape thing is like actually been
Grape.
disproven. If you read the Hebrew, it's quite literally 2 different words.
Okay, fucking hell. I gotta kick you now because you said the word. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I got a warning. That's why you gotta say grape. Fuck. That was some really gross victim blaming. Yeah, everyone in TikTok chat, talk about how much you love TikTok Shop. Oh, can't wait to purchase things from the shop. Wow. We love it. Hee hee. Let's all engage in capitalism. Welcome in, Steve O. Jones.
Hey,
I guess
how's
your
it
name
going?
is Steve. Is that fair?
Yes, it is. That is correct.
Are you over 18, Steve?
Yeah, I'm 32.
And what pronoun should we use for you?
He, him's fine.
Wonderful. What is your religion or lack thereof?
I'd say I'm a theist.
Okay. So why do Christians defend atrocities?
Which ones are you referring to?
So many. Well, I mean, you just heard the last. She was, defending slavery. A lot of them.
I came
defend...
in kind of late. I didn't get to hear.
Oh, well, she was defending slavery. A lot of them defend the flood. A lot of them defend having David's wives raped as a punishment to David. The slaughtering of the Amalekite children. Burning priests' daughters if they had sex before marriage. Taking the Midianite girls as sex slaves. And any one of those. Those are all ones that people have defended on my streams. Oh, yeah, the bear attack. Having the 42 children mauled by bears. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I guess what I question sometimes is, because it says it in the Bible, is it directly saying that God condones or supports this action? And that's kind of what I always try to wonder.
Yeah,
or
if it's
unclear about
God.
that.
If it's God said do this thing, then I would say yes.
Yeah, if it clearly says God says that he wanted this to happen, and it's not by human beings' own will.
All of those examples I just gave you were God doing something. Either commanding it or doing it himself.
I really wouldn't know how to defend that. I'm not sure if I'd have a leg to stand on, because I really don't understand how a God would justify doing those things. But I think as a theist, I think for me, not to like skew off the prompt too much, but I think it's just more reasonable to believe in a creator rather than nothing.
It just kind of seems like a God of the gaps thing to me, but it's not really on the point of why do Christians defend atrocities.
Yeah, you're right. I didn't want to skew off too much of the prompt, but well, I guess if I'm a theist, would I still be able to chat or?
If we're not in disagreement, I'm probably gonna go ahead and let you go. Just because I am trying to keep ops up here as much as I can.
Yeah, I guess I would kind of ask about. I would kind of go deeper into why do Christians defend atrocities, and that implicates some sort of moral system that we operate off, and then I would question where that even comes from if you don't have a God. I don't know if that is correlated enough for you to have that discussion, but
I would come back at a different time when I'm talking about like God being evil or why Christianity is harmful, because one of the reasons I talk about Christianity being harmful is because of the way that it erodes people's ability to hold personal moral standards. I think that would be more appropriate to talk about during one of those lives.
Okay, I gotcha. Okay, thank you.
Yep, have a good one. I get to do a fun thing now. I get to read off some super chats because they were piling up, and I didn't even. I'm not used to having those, so I gotta do better of looking at them. So we got from Andrew Z. We got $5 to say 404 context not found. Thankful that we had the Joel song for that one, and also Steve, thank you for being like respectful and cool during all that. Actually, next up we have from Devil's PD. We have 2 different super chats. One for $10 saying Jesus died so we could stop doing slavery is solid apologetic. Hell yeah, look at that. Strongest apologetic. Well, Jesus died, so like no more slavery now. And next, another $10 super chat from Devil's PD saying, why is she trying to prove that Jesus removed the restriction on owning her own brethren? Is this 4D apologetics chess? Yeah, it's kind of wild to be like, because the text doesn't say that Jesus ever owned slaves, therefore he was obviously against slavery. Why did he not ever say that then? Why did he not ever say, hey, stop doing a slavery? But the idea that, like, coercing someone with violence to do something is still giving them a choice, extremely problematic, and that's the type of language that is often leveraged against victims to try to make them have some sort of culpability for what was done to them. And that's just icky. Icky. Just because you're too poor to own a slave doesn't mean you're against it. Precisely. Yeah. The good kind of slavery. I did have it ready. I had it ready to go. I mean, we might as well, right? Yeah.
You're talking about the good kind of slavery. They got the good kind of slavery. No, I wouldn't like it if it were me, but it's a good kind of slavery. Sure, you can beat them within an inch of their life, and you can keep them if they fall in love with their wife. Nah, there ain't nothing wrong with another human being owned. When God says it, it's a good kind of slavery.
Hell yeah. Godless Engineer, hey! I see you over the YouTube chat. Why can't you join a membership or something? I don't have that set up yet. I want to make sure that people actually have incentives to join as a member. Yeah, the grit when he goes like, when God says it! I love that shit. Hell yeah. Oh, I feel like I got a sneeze coming on, but I don't know for sure. We're good. Bobby, why are you here? This guy, if you didn't know, is the origin of my Bobby is a Little Bitch song. Bobby's a little bitch, Bobby is. All songs in Joel's bio. Yeah, go follow Joel if you don't already, but I bet you all do. Don't you? God loves you. He's not turned away from you. No matter how far you stray from his presence, his kingdom remains open to you. Please, sir, let me in. Okay. What is the song? You just heard the whole thing. Pretty much just that. I think the full song is, Bobby's a little bitch, Bobby is. Oh, he's little in multiple ways. I don't know why he stays. Bobby is a little bitch, Bobby is. Ooh. Thor vs. Darwin with a $20 super chat saying, great show. Hope y'all are doing well tonight. Thank you so much, Thor vs. Darwin. It's been a hell of a show. We've had some real winners up here. Could use some kazoo in that song. I might agree. I am also working on getting a way for YouTube to call in. I am working on that. We'll get there eventually. Lord help me, because I want to tell this, quote, woman about herself. I'm non-binary, actually. So I appreciate you putting the woman in quotes as if to imply that I'm not one, because you would be correct. Did I sing a lot in Baptist church? Yeah. I was part of the praise band. But I'm working on getting a call-in method for the YouTube chat. I am getting some assistance from two friends of mine who are completely indistinguishable from each other. Who's gonna help me get that set up. So look for that in the near future. And you guys will never ever be able to guess who those two people are because it's super mysterious and, you know, we're never seen interacting ever. So last caller endpoint was shocking. Congrats, you've unlocked a new achievement, or I mean disappointment. Yep, that is true. That is true. Yeah, to go for the, like, actually, it is still a choice. She's choosing to have sex, even though he's threatening her with a weapon. Thank you for the hand heart, Ice Cream. How sweet. Because ice cream. I'm also commissioning an artist friend of mine to make a little design for me to maybe put on articles of clothing that can be worn. Chad and Markiplier? Am I a combination? Not really. Hello, everybody. Not really. Mysterious because you don't know the gender. Thank you. I appreciate that. I like keeping people in suspense. The combination inspiration for the haircut was Stevie Nicks and Mick Jagger, so works well, right? We make it so hard. Morgan, I think you typed that wrong. I make you so hard. Well, thank you guys. I'm glad to hear that you like the hair. It had been so long since I got my hair done. The last time I got my hair done was before I went on the 1% club. So thank you for another hand heart, Ice Cream. I appreciate it. Bangs is life. I've missed having bangs that are actually above my eyes. They were like way down to here. I just couldn't fucking do it. The Botox, yes. For those of you who don't know, I was on the game show, the 1% Club, and the thing they asked me what I wanted to use the money for was to get a Botox injection in my throat to help me burp properly. It's a whole thing. It's a condition, RCPD. Instead of like burping, I usually do this like weird like bleh. It's unpleasant. It's very unpleasant. So that's what I went on saying that I wanted to use the money for. It is a real treatment. But I accidentally very much embarrassed myself because the host, Joel McHale, who by the way is like my biggest celebrity crush, so it was kind of embarrassing, double embarrassing. He was like going through, you know, asking me all the questions like, okay, T, what would you do with the money? And I explained it, and there was another contestant who had the same condition, and she had already gotten that injection, so she was able to like burp on command. It was very impressive. I was super jealous of her. But when I mentioned that I wanted to get that Botox injection, he's like, oh yeah, a Botox party, maybe I'll join you guys. And I'm like, ha ha he he. But in my head I'm like, why would someone voluntarily want a needle injected into their throats? Right? So my response was like, you join us for the throat? Which definitely came off a little bit more euphemistic than I intended. So everybody in the room thought that I was offering to blow him. Which I wasn't. If he had asked, no. But it did make people laugh and I was very embarrassed. Luckily, they cut that off. It didn't appear in the version that went on air. They cut it off right after he's like, maybe I would have joined you guys. So he didn't get my very confused for the throat. But I thought for like half a second that they left it in when they left that part of what he said in. I'm like, oh god, oh no, oh fuck. Because I was gonna have to like go back and tell all my family, like, don't watch it. Don't watch the show. Don't watch me say that, please. So thankfully they cut that out, but I'll tell you guys because I can give you a little bit more of the don't you know context. It's fake and rigged. Listen, it's been out for like a month now, so it's not really spoilers if I say this. I didn't win. I got out on the second to last question, and I would have gotten the last one right. I knew it while we were in the room. But they got my real time expression of like shock and despair. Now, it is funny because every single time I'm on camera, I look absolutely petrified, which I was. I was scared. I was so nervous. My entire body was just like one big clench. Like my butthole was non-existent. It was smooth down there. That's how puckered I was. So every time they cut to me, I'm just like I look like I am being held hostage while playing this game show. And there was this lady next to me who was there. She was there with her daughter. They were on this like TLC show called Smothered, because they're like a very weirdly close mother-daughter. They like take baths together and shit. But the mom sat right next to me and she did not stop talking the whole time. So I was trying to answer these questions while I have her next to me like, oh, I would have known that one. She got out the first question. So I had that going on. And also, I have autism. There are certain textures that I can't stand, and one of those textures just so happened to be a texture that was on the case for the tablets we were using to answer the questions. So I was having to like try to hold it like this so I didn't get like sensory overload. So I'm like trying to poke at the screen while holding it super, super weird. And just like in a constant state of like, oh my god, this is so high stakes. Oh fuck. And they didn't give us a meal while we were there, and we got there at like 5 a.m. and we filmed till like 3 p.m. So I was battling sensory overload, extreme nerves, not being fed, listening to this lady next to me talk, and you can see it on my face. You can see every little bit of that in my expression because I have no poker face. My partner has said this about me, that I don't have like a resting expression. And I'm inclined to agree, because whatever I'm feeling, you're going to see. It's why I'm not really good at some customer service gigs, because I will just be like it's not even the like Gen Z stare, just whatever I'm feeling. If I'm like, you're saying something so stupid right now, and you guys probably know this because you've seen me interact with people that I'm like, you're stupid, I'm just gonna be like so imagine me like trying to assist people in a work setting and just being like, okay. How do I defend atrocities? I generally avoid it. Yeah, I don't have any requests right now, so it seems like there aren't enough Christians in chat who want to like defend their faith. That does mean that God's not real, and I hope they know that. What atrocities am I specifically referring to? There's so many. You can pick and choose. Slavery, G-side, unaliving, slaying babies, blah 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 blah, so on and so forth. The answer is because they're in a cult. You're not wrong. Listen to me laugh? What's wrong with my laugh? Hee hee ha ha. Hello? Delightful. Everyone loves it. Damn it. I'm not as good at... I break too much. I try not to. I don't have the fortitude that some of my creator friends on here have. Which is why it's a problem I struggle with in improv too, because I've told you guys that I do perform improv. I have for a while now. I break too much at improv scenes. I'm working on it, okay? Is my 1% appearance on my channel? No, it is not. I might post a clip for it. Yeah, Mezzo's particularly good at not breaking. Which makes it feel like even more of a triumph when I actually get him to break. Right? When Mezzo's like trying really hard to be stoic and I get him to just like giggle a little bit. Yeah. I'm proud of myself for those. There's a clip in one of Joel's lives that I saved, just because I love it, where Joel and Mezzer were kind of messing with a guest who was just like super low energy, and they were like, "Oh, you're clearly going through a lot emotionally, and like we're so sorry to hear that. So let's bring in our friend robotgoat to help you." And I just come in and I'm like, "Oh, have you considered not being a little bitch about it?" And Joel did one of these. I felt pretty good about myself for that one. Do I have thoughts on progressive Christians? Less harmful than fundamentalists for the most part, but still hold on to some damaging beliefs. That's what I would say. I'm glad it makes sense, Goob. Joel Osteen? Ugh. Not that Joel. I wouldn't hang out with that Joel. That Joel is icky. Some of the biggest, like, televangelists just give me the creeps. Like, I'm sure you guys have seen Kenneth Copeland and how he just always looks like he has some issues going on. Like when he said that getting into a plane was getting into a metal tube with a bunch of demons. And then a reporter asked him about that, and he's like, "I didn't say that. Don't you ever say that I said that." That's almost his exact expression. Eek? Egads, even? Like, so many of them are just terrible, terrible vibes. Prosperity gospel is out of fashion. Yeah. I'm kind of glad that more people seem to be waking up to the toxic idea of the prosperity gospel. And it's crazy looking back now at my own church and how even in like this random church in Alabama did it, right? You know, if you tithe, you're supposed to be entrusting a tenth of your income to God because you're trusting that you will reap more than you sow. And they will pressure you and make you feel like you're a bad person if you don't do it. And that kind of sucks. And you don't even really think of it in that context because they just make it seem so normal. It's so normalized that you don't even stop and think about like, oh, that's kind of fucked up. Hey, church shit, welcome in. I saw someone say something. Why do I think there are so few women/femmes who interact with this topic by requesting? Oh, I'm sorry, Peg the Patriarchy. I didn't see when you came in, but hey. I would say there's a couple reasons why I get fewer women or femmes. For one, the debate space is mostly masculine people. It's not all of them, but I will say, I think I can say pretty securely that there's definitely a majority of masculine presenting people in the debate space. I would also say the men seem to be a little more, I'm trying to phrase this respectfully, they're more indignant. They perceive these types of discussions as personal attacks on them, whereas I think women, femme people are more likely to just be like, and scroll on. The men are like, well, I gotta defend this, because men are supposed to be the protectors. They're supposed to be the tough people who can come in and defend certain things. So they feel like they have the authority to come in and defend their faith. I will say the conversations I have with feminine people, it's more often that I have pleasant ones. More so than with the masculine presenting people. Like, I would say it's more typical that a feminine person is willing to like hear my points, adapt like some of their beliefs, or at least be introspective, where the men are more likely to double down. Now, obviously, this isn't making sweeping statements about like, oh, well, all men are going to act this way and all women are going to act this way. It's just the behavior that I've typically observed. And it does tend to be a little bit more binary simply because Christianity teaches such a strict gender divide. They have these very strict expectations for what a man is supposed to be and a woman is supposed to be, which does mean that you see men and women behave more similarly to each other, whereas people who don't adhere to a super strict gender binary, they tend to have more diverse gender expressions. They tend to have a broader spectrum of identities and behaviors. That's just something that I tend to notice about these things. Women couldn't even teach the Bible. Yeah, there are definitely those verses that say, hey, women are not supposed to teach, they're supposed to remain silent. And women are just generally treated as property in the Bible, so not great. Someone's bringing up B, our mean girl Christian who came in here and was like, so you don't even know how the stars are made? God hung them in the sky. And here's a perfect example from Charlie Davis 9996. 2 genders, male and female, every other gender is made up. So this is someone who misunderstands what gender is, adheres to the idea of a strict gender binary, and is refusing and unwilling to consider other possibilities. Oh, Pokey, you missed the Mean Girl stream? That was like a little while ago. Yeah, she came in here just kept being like, so you don't know how the stars are made? You don't know how the stars are made? You don't know? You don't know how the stars are made? And then her explanation was, God hung them in the sky. And if you think I'm over-exaggerating on the voice and the vocal fry, go watch the clip. It's on my page. It's like Christian Mean Girl matching energies, something is that caption. Because it was just so, like, I don't always break out the voice, but when people just, you know, they're being like really condescending, it's fun. I gotta use my mimic ability somehow, right? I'm mentally unstable. If I were looking for a diagnosis, I'd go to our good friend Ed, the clinical psychologist. Fuck, I can't even keep a straight face. Oh. Do I watch The Line? Yes, I do. I love The Line. But along the same line, if you like call-in shows, I've got a call-in show for you. I'm going to be on Talk Heathen on Sunday with Dr. Ben. So you can see that over on YouTube. If you don't already subscribe to Talk Heathen, you should. So we're going to be taking some calls, having a fun time. So go watch Talk Heathen on Sunday. This will actually be in place of Ramsass. So it will not be your normally scheduled Ramsass. It will instead be, it will be Talk Heathen. Oh, I didn't see Jimmy's looking for atheist creators. Interesting. I need an exorcism, not a psychologist. Well, Charlie, your mother sucks cocks in hell. Somebody get me a crucifix, and you do not want to know what I'm going to do with it. Someone says, DNA is by design, not random. It's how we heal on our own and how God knows how to heal us. That's not what DNA is. If you'd like to come up and talk about it, I can teach you what DNA is. But that's just not how that works. You've got to look at trees with your spiritual eyes. You gotta look at him using your spiritual eyes. What does a person even think DNA stands for? That is a very good litmus test. That's a very good litmus test when people are talking about DNA. Just like, hey, what does it stand for? Because if they can't tell me that, then... Are we gonna have a good conversation about DNA? Damn nutty atheists. These nuts, atheist. Oh! Everyone give me your best, in chat, just give me your best, what does DNA actually stand for? Fun little prompt. What does DNA stand for? Correct answers only. Divine natural ass. Love it. Dick and ass. Hell yeah. Did not attend, parentheses, church. Yes. Dicks, nuts, and ass. The food groups. Do not ask. Good one and also fair. I apologize for asking. Oh, hey Nola, welcome in. Don't know anything. I don't think that starts with an N. Do not abort, Christian says. Demi-naked albatross? Excellent. Do not, asshole. Yes. Excellent. I don't know which of these YouTube will allow me to pin. Ooh, I like dirt nasty ass. Dragon nuts allowed. That's good. That's good. Doodle noodle a udle. Oh, it's so silly. I love it. It seems like we generally agree that the A stands for ass. Yeah, you know, you guys are all getting it right, so I don't really know. I don't really know what to do. Someone says dragon nuts allowed. Dragon these nuts across your face. Do not acronym. Oh no. We've all been acronyming so much though. Excellent. Don't notify authorities. Ooh wee. Defend your gods' atrocities. Am I familiar with the Mind Dragon? Mind Dragon these nuts across your face? Damned naughty atheist. Yeah, I like that one. Not approved! Ah, TikTok's a pussy. Do not resuscitate. These are some excellent answers. Wonderful. Let's see. TikTok, do you think we can get to 55k likes? Because if we don't in the next 5 minutes get a guest up here, I'm probably gonna call the stream, but I'm not ready to call the stream yet. But I love riffing, but there's only so much riffing I can do on my own. But if we tap that screen and get someone in here who's willing to argue, then my face will freeze in the most horrific looking way possible. That is what will happen. So I'm glad we're all in agreement on that. Let's try that one more time, shall we? Hated that. Why is it always the weirdest fucking... It used to be where it would glitch and it would show just my eyes and the rest would distort. You loved that face? Okay. Uh-huh. Look, one of the hazards of streaming is there's gonna be a lot of really weird screenshots of you out there. I have plenty where I'm just like, it happens. It happens, right? And again, I'm a very expressive person. So there's gonna be some funny looking expressions every now and then. Yep. Inumaki, you got it. The strawberry hat one? Absolutely. I don't know if I have that. Surely I have that saved where I can put it up on stream for you guys to see. I guess not. I guess I do not have it saved. Anyway, if you join my Discord, my link tree, you'll see a picture of me in this strawberry hat. Basically just going like, it's terrible. But it's one of my favorite pictures of me just because it's so awful. You gotta laugh at yourself before other people do it. Did I make the hat? Yes! I make a lot of fun hats. I've got this hat right here that I made. I've got this frog hat here that I've made. And I've got a witch hat that I've made. We're up to 62k likes now on TikTok. Ooh-wee. If we get a guest in here who is an op, I will put on one of these hats if you guys want. Your choice. Hat of choice. Some of them work better with the headphones. Like the witch one does not work super well with headphones, but we'll try. But the strawberry and frog ones are also pretty good. I do make these. I've considered selling them. I've considered even making them on stream and then like selling them from there. Maybe I'll do that. Any tips to not give up on crochet? Get some good tools. For me, and this is not, I'm not sponsored by any crochet hook company, but the Furls Streamline Metal Series is the best crochet hook that I've ever used. I have several of these in different sizes just because anything else just feels lackluster in comparison. They are very expensive. I usually get them, I ask for them for gifts for holidays. So for like birthdays and Christmas and shit, I'm like, can you get me a crochet hook? They're so smooth, very ergonomic, very comfortable. Furls, sponsor me. I love them. They're so great. And that's what I use when you see me in here. I think I have the bag that I was working on. And I was using this one, which is, I think, blush is the color for this one. While I was working on this bag on stream. Still haven't finished it yet. We'll get there. But I like the colorway. We've got a guest! Which means I'll put up a poll for which hat you guys want me to wear.
Oh. Hello?
Hey, welcome in.
Can you hear me okay?
I hear
Thank
you.
you. No, thanks for having me.
Yeah,
I just wanted to say, like, if people defending atrocities, then they're not Christian, because really, if you look in scripture, it doesn't support war, it doesn't support anything that's happened in the files, it doesn't support anything Trump's been doing. And I must say, British Christians have been against Trump the whole time, the vast majority of us.
Yeah, I think you're misunderstanding the nature of the question. I'm asking why Christians defend the atrocities that God does.
Right, but the thing is, has God done atrocities, or, do man do atrocities with their free will? That's very different.
God does them. The ones I'm talking about are the ones that God does.
Well, explain which atrocities. If you mean about flooding, the thing is, with everything going on in the earth, can you not understand why God flooded the earth at one point? Because reading the files, I sure understood why.
Yeah, so you do understand that if God decided to flood the earth because of the files, he would also be drowning the victims of the files?
I mean, yeah, I guess that is a fair point. Do you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, when you read about what happened with Sodom and Gomorrah, when you read about that, it was messed up. Like, the whole city was just
the children
messed
too?
up. But the thing is, one thing I just want to say is British, like, because someone said in chat, this is where I came up, someone said, I voted for Trump, how I live in England. I'm completely against what Trump does. I don't defend what Trump does, and I've never defended what that man does. Or any atrocities. I pray against war every day. I donate to charities. I don't want to go into a whole theology, but I did not realise your point was about theology. I don't want to go into a big, deep theology debate because it is half free, but I did want to say that British Christians are on the side of the American people. They're on the side of the people in Gaza. We lead sermons, we lead collections, so you should know that the full support of British Christians are behind important causes in the world right now, and you should know that.
All right, I
That's all I
appreciate
wanted to
that.
say.
It's not really pertaining to my topic tonight.
Yeah, I misread your topic. Do you know what I mean? I thought you meant literal atrocities happening in the world today, like right now. Do you know what I mean? Because I know online we've been getting a lot of blame for things that Trump said. Just for the sheer fact of being Christian, I just honestly thought it was more of that. So my apologies. I misunderstood you. But you have a pleasant evening now. But just know that we're all thinking of you and everything that's happening that's over in the States right now. You're all in our thoughts and prayers.
All right. Thank you so much.
No problem. Have a good evening. Take care.
Thoughts and prayers. Oh boy. Pip Cheerio. Oh, come on. That's like if I leave and someone's like, yeehaw, you know? I can't do that. Let's see. I just realized I still have just the tiniest bit of the graphic for Joel up on screen from when he last cursed us with his presence. I mean, blessed us with his... We were also happy to see him, right? We were all so very pumped, just so happy to see him.
The fuck is going on? What the
this fucking guy.
Don't pretend you didn't invite me up. Don't do play acting.
For all I know, you could have requested and invited yourself up because you just love bringing people on here.
I can't. No one. You don't have that power as a moderator. You don't know that.
Well, I haven't been made a moderator in anyone's stream, so no.
Yeah, and I'm not going to make you a moderator. Okay, stop asking.
What? You don't think you could trust me with that kind of authority?
I would never. I don't get. The only person that can bring up or drop is Mezzo. I do not have any other mods with that power.
Well, you haven't given me any mod powers.
That's true. But why are you mentioning me?
Oh, we had someone who was defending slavery and talking about the context.
Don't you? Oh, there he is.
Yep, just a little Passover, just a quick little.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, like a ticker tape. Yeah,
I was doing it manually. I'm just dragging it slowly across my screen.
I noticed it. Yeah,
that's why it's
it's not smooth, and
that's why it's it's worse the more I laugh.
Yeah, I didn't know. Like, I thought you were purposely doing it worse than the first time. The first time it wasn't so bad.
I can just hold the arrow key and it goes, but it's very slow when I do it that way.
Oh yeah. Comically slow. Oh, that's a good question. Do you know what ticker tape is?
That's a bondage thing, right?
Ticker tape is, I think, even before my time. Not just because I'm in my early to mid to late 20s, but it's like it was like from long time ago, where there's something going like across the bottom.
30
of the screen.
years.
Like 100 years ago or something. I don't know.
Oh.
It's like super long ago.
Yeah, this guy came in earlier. He was talking about these crazy things I've never heard of. Like, he was talking about, like, when you use a microphone, sometimes there's this thing called feedback. He taught me all about it. Very helpful.
What? Like Fabaki? I've heard about Fabaki, but
you as a man should know, but I had to have him teach me.
Fabaki's a man thing?
Yes. Rhymes with bukkake.
Yeah, okay. I was wondering. You as a man should know what it's like to have tons and tons of cum from multiple men on your face.
Am I wrong?
What's that?
Am I wrong?
Well, that's not necessarily. It'd be that, like, I was one of many men. And do you think anyone enjoys being
think we know which
bukkake?
side of a bukkake you'd be.
I'm the one being bukkakied, aren't I?
Yeah, you are.
What is the do you think anyone, now this it's not a personal question, but do you think anyone, one's in chat if you guys think anyone enjoys being bukkakied? I'm sure somebody does, but it's like, do you think it's like a common thing that it's like people are out there being like, yeah, I'd love to be bukkakied?
Yeah, I don't know. That shit burns if it gets in your eye. Doesn't really taste that great.
Really? I've heard otherwise, but you know, I know
Really?
people lie.
You've heard otherwise.
Yeah,
Okay.
I've had people lie to me. So there's 3 ones.
You know, there's
4 ones.
I did a reading of a poem once, like I recorded it even, and it's called like, I fed my boyfriend nothing but pineapple and now his dick is covered in bees.
That's interesting.
It's incredible. It's like a 3-minute long thing, and maybe I'll put it on my Discord if people want to join and hear it on my Discord, or I'll send it to the BBD's one as well, because
Not the BBFs.
well, it's a little too risque.
Little risque.
Yeah, his dick is
That's
covered in
interesting
bees.
though. Yeah, dick bees. You know, like I think that there is obviously there is something to the fruit thing. It does.
Big bee dick.
It's not going to make bees attack.
That's what
your
BBD
dick, but-
stands for.
Yeah, it's bumblebee dick.
Fuck.
Big furry striped dicks.
Okay, you
with
don't have to read out your
wings.
search history to us.
So
Big furry dick is absolutely in there. Sorry, you were saying?
big furry dick. You think that's what I'd be into, Mr. Anti-Bush? And I'm not confirming that, but I'm saying that's what people
you
assume of me.
don't want it. You want the
I
tree,
want it
not
on the dick,
roots.
not on the the roots. Is that what a vagina is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know how a tree goes into roots?
Yeah, like that classic thing where you always plant trees inside roots. Yeah.
How else are they gonna grow?
Yep.
They have to
Yeah,
get
that
water.
makes sense. Fertilize
I know you
the
don't know.
roots.
I know you don't know how plants work. This guy who taught me about feedback also taught me about plants.
I don't think there was a real guy because honestly, I have plants. That's one of my whole things.
I was in here talking to myself. He also said that he didn't believe me that I'm autistic.
You told yourself you didn't believe yourself that you're an autistic person?
Apparently so.
This doesn't make any sense to me. This is like the story isn't adding up.
Okay,
So
so
you
his
had
name was
one-
Ed. He was in my ears, and it was like weirdly sensual. He's
What's
real.
happening? Guys, I was not in this live tonight. I was recording a recap.
Oh, when did you
Yeah,
cap?
you know I do recaps. Oh, it took me like an hour to cap again. Oh, you mean the first time?
Yeah, well, you have to
Oh,
cap
that
to
was
recap.
like 2024. Yeah. No
On
cap.
God, no cap?
No cap. Yeah. So let me ask you this.
Oh,
You
no.
got a lot of good guests tonight?
No.
All right.
I've had a few people come up, but I've been riffing on my own for probably, 45 minutes now? Except for the one person who
Seems-
came up and was like, oh, I misread your prompt, and then almost immediately left. We did have
It
one.
just says defend atrocities.
Yeah, they thought that I meant like modern atrocities specifically. But there was
But you know what?
a woman who came
Go
in and
ahead.
is like, it's actually if a man holds a pew pew to a woman's head and says, have sex with me or I'll shoot, and she does it, she made the choice to do that.
She made the choice to be shot. I didn't quite listen.
No, because she has it's a choice for her if she has sex with the man,
Right.
because
Oh,
she
man.
could have just let him shoot her, apparently.
Yeah, so that's free will, you're saying.
Yeah.
That's a free will conversation. You should have leaned into the modern atrocity thing. You should have been like, you all you have to do is think of a genocide where people are killing children and be like, why do Christians defend that? And then when they go, we don't, just be like, well, but you think it's okay
But you did,
because, and then go back to the other thing.
I've got a request via super chat from
For me
JamNick06.
to leave.
No,
me to
for
drop.
you to tell us what DNA actually stands for.
Yeah, no, that's no problem. It's a
That wasn't even close. You didn't even come up with 3 words. Kicked? Excuse me? Excuse me? I will not have this type of slander. In fact, since you did that, since you decided you want to be a little bitch about it, we're gonna
Where do spirit. Why run from my simple questions?
It was simple. It was so
when
simple.
You have the answers in your book.
Seemed like we had a runner, guys. So that's an L. Joel. Just got utterly bukkakied. We all just came on his face, and he liked it. Dino Nuggies Association. I dig that one. I dig that one. What atrocities are we talking about? A lot. Slavery, the flood, having women raped as punishment, having children mauled by bears, having babies slaughtered by the sword, having little girls taken as sex slaves. You just joined and heard, and we all just came on his face and he liked it. And you stayed? That says something about you. I've seen you in here before, punny programmer. I already know you're a sick fuck. Timing is everything. My topic is too intimidating for questions. Maybe it is. Maybe it is. Joel's in sticky heaven. Ew. I don't want to go to sticky heaven. God, I saw a great TikTok today, and I'm totally stealing someone else's joke. But it was like, come hell or high water. I'm going to pick high water every time. Because no matter what, it's not going to be worse than whatever's going to await me in come hell. Very good. I have a Jewish name I certainly don't deserve? Robotgoat? Oh, Jamnik, that's a pretty good one. I gotta pin a new comment over here. Yeah. Sorry to unpin the dildo store comment, but... Robots are Jewish now? Oh! No one told me! Man. Well, l'chaim. Well. Wow, you're at 71k likes. Thank you guys so much. Nerd Unleashed, at least you didn't join right when I was talking about coming on someone's face. There are better and worse times to join. Speaking of which, if anyone is watching this on your For You page and you haven't clicked in, you're my enemy now. We are sworn arch rivals, and we have to fight. So my place of choice is the Palm Springs Denny's. Be there, 3 a.m. Bet you won't, pussy. Anyone else feel that stare? I'll just give you the old Eric Kirk. Follow me on TikTok. I make such great content. Subscribe to me on YouTube. I do also have to get to Lake Michigan at really early in the morning. Yeah. Hey, Schley! Oh, it rhymes. So delightful. The deep soul stare is almost enough for you not to watch? Prolonged eye contact. You use Charlie Kirk as like an adjective to mean dead? Incredible. I have to do heavy breathing too. No one wants that, but I can. I'm a little stuffed up, but let's not do that anymore. Look, I take allergy meds. I just perpetually have a little bit of congestion, so I'm not ever going to do that again. Deviated septum? Maybe. Your kids say they have a kirk in their neck when they're sore. Unfortunate. Septum, I hardly know him. Fuck! You guys can't say things that's funnier than me. Can't do it. Can't do it. Secretariat, I don't know what you heard, but probably. Probably. We have a habit of saying some things here that the kids might call out of pocket. For the Bo Burnham quote, prolonged eye contact. Thank you, Gemnick, for the super chat on YouTube. Prolonged eye contact. I have been a Bo Burnham fan for so long. Like, I was a huge fan of his when I was in high school. So I liked his old stuff. I was into, like, What and Words, Make Happy. So the pre-Inside material. I love the intro to What. Look, I know a lot of his stuff aged poorly. Even the prolonged eye contact bit, because he definitely, like, sexually harassed that girl in the audience during that bit. Still just very well put together show. He's obviously very talented, and it seems like he's been introspective about some of the things that he did that is not so great. You are without chill. Well, you should be more chill. Is the Eucharist just Jesus jerky? Some of the Catholics apparently think it's his heart tissue. Gummy. Hey there, I'm gonna guess your name is Cam, is that right?
Yeah, it's pretty close. It's Cameron, but yeah, you know what? I see where you got that.
Yeah, from your username.
Because it's Cam. Yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah, you above 18?
I am 18.
Okay, alright. And if the chat were going to talk about you, would they say he, she, they, or something else?
He's awesome.
Alright, what is your religion or lack thereof, Cameron?
I am a Christian.
Alright, why do Christians defend atrocities?
You know, it's a great question. And I think Christians, like everybody else, are trying to find the truth. And I think that, you know, I think everybody wants to know the truth. I mean, I'm assuming you're an atheist. I don't think I've heard you say that outright since I joined.
I'm an agnostic atheist, yeah.
Agnostic. And I think, you know, I think everybody's trying to find the truth, yourself included.
Yeah.
And so I think...
Sorry, I was just going to clarify. The implication of my question is more, why do Christians defend the atrocities committed by their God?
No, I understand that totally. And I think myself as a Christian, I'm not a Christian on the basis of, like, fact. Like, I think you would know as, like, an agnostic atheist, like, you know, you can't prove nor disprove God, like, on paper, right? Would you agree with that?
Sure. Some gods you can.
Sure. Yeah, sure. I would agree with that.
And the Christian God is one of them.
You know what? I'm not a scientist. I haven't seen any, like, I think the debate exists for a reason, and I think it's, I don't know how to put it. I think the debate exists for a reason, and I think people definitely have faith. And what I was going to say is my faith is just that. It's faith, right? Like, I put my faith in God, and I am completely fine, you know, not being able to definitively prove it on paper.
Yeah, I'd say faith without evidence is not, it's not a very good way to get to truth.
That's good. That's good. I don't know. I love Jesus. That's something I truly believe. Like, I look at Jesus and I see such a selfless love, and a love that I really haven't known or been able to, a love that I haven't really experienced in my life. And to me, that love is just so powerful. Like I don't quite know how to quantify it. And so
Right. I would say that the type of quote unquote love that Jesus is offering is really just an abusive relationship.
how do you figure?
Because the thing that Jesus died for is because of a system that he set in place. So he died as a sacrifice to himself to save us from what he would do to us if he didn't sacrifice himself.
I'm sorry, I just got another call there. I didn't hear what you said.
Yeah, so basically God set the whole system up, and for people who believe in like the Trinity, Jesus is
Yep.
God, right? So God set up a system in which the punishment for sin had to be death, to then send himself as a sacrifice to himself to appease him so he wouldn't torment us. It's
I
not really
think-
loving. If someone sets fire to a building but opens the emergency exit door, they're not the good guy.
Well, I think we set fire to the building is more accurate.
No.
In the
Who
Garden of Eden,
Who created hell?
sorry, who created hell? Hell is a dimension separate from God, and we choose.
So God
whether or
didn't
not-
create it?
So I'm sorry, I misspoke there. Is a dimension like separate from Earth? So yes, God created hell, but hell is a response to our chosen rebellion from God.
He didn't have to create hell. If he was truly all-loving, he did not have to create a system in which it was possible for us to be punished by eternal torment.
But would it be all loving for God to then choose to enslave us all?
Enslave? Who said anything about him enslaving us?
Well, if he's forcing us all to be with him, then of
No,
course
just make
it's
another
enslavement.
place. Make a place where it is perfect and there isn't suffering, but we don't necessarily have to be around God. That's well within his power if he's all-powerful.
Yeah, I think. Well, like I said, in the Garden of Eden, everything was created perfect, and
No.
God said that Pardon me.
Sorry, if it was created perfect, then there wouldn't have been the capacity for sin or suffering. The mere fact that there was the possibility of evil means that it was not actually perfect.
Well, it was the fruit of knowledge, right? God gave us the option to be away from Him, to receive that divine knowledge, and we chose that. We chose to say that, God.
I
I
wasn't
don't-
there.
we don't want
Were
this.
you?
I wasn't, no, but I know in my life I've chosen plenty of times to do something wrong that I know is right.
To do something wrong that you know was right?
Like to be mean, to make to. I know you're not a theist or a Christian or whatever, so I'm not gonna say the word sin because you
Well,
might
I
not subscribe to that.
was.
I'm just you might. You're not now. I'm just
Yeah.
trying to appeal
And
to what you
I get
believe.
it. I know the sort of guilt that is heaped upon Christians to think that every action they take is some sort of horrible sin that makes them like unworthy of love. It's a very damaging way to grow up and to regard yourself. And I have that hindsight because I went through it myself. And I look back at some of the old sermons I was taught and I think, no wonder I have such a horrible opinion of myself when I was younger. Because
yeah. Well,
I was
I'm
constantly being
sorry.
told that I was sinful and I was a sinner and I was worthy of damnation, and it was only because of God that I was redeemable. I was not redeemable on my own. I wasn't worthy of being loved on my own. It was just because God was gracious enough to choose to love me.
I think, that's unfortunate that that's been your experience. I mean, I can say I've had the opposite experience. Like, before I had so much guilt, I was chained up to addiction. All these things I had done, like, to people, I just wasn't a nice person. And to have someone, to know that, and in my belief, that God died for me, so to essentially, like, pay the price for something that I deserve. Like, I did
set the
these bad
price?
things. Well, it's cause and effect, right? You do something bad, God
No.
is just and fair.
It's who set the price.
Oh, are you talking about, like, objective versus subjective morality, do you mean?
No.
Like saying that, like, God
No. Who decided that the wages of sin are death, as the Bible says?
Well, oh yeah, that is. So thinking about it, like, and this is sort of the way I've rationalized it in my head. Like, when you're saying that, the wages of sin is death, like sin is rebellion from God, right?
What determined, or who determined, that the wages of sin would be death?
Well, of course, I'm trying to phrase this in a way. I'm sorry. I'm trying to be like,
It was
I'm not trying
God.
to like, of course.
Right.
I'm saying like, but of course, rebellion from God, like God has created everything when God did create everything in the Garden of Eden in such a way where there was no suffering, there was no pain, and we chose to rebel from that. It's only natural. Like death entered. God warned us. He said, if you eat this fruit, you will die. And we chose to bring that into the world. And God even...
Yeah, why did he lie like that?
Why did God lie?
Yeah.
How do you figure that God lied?
Well, he said, the very day that you eat this fruit, you will die. And they ate that fruit and they didn't die that day.
Well, death entered the world, right?
Yeah, that's not what he said. He said, the day that you eat this fruit, you will die.
But I'm sorry, I feel like we're kind of getting off the topic that we were on.
Yeah, no, it's interesting that God lied to them. Because that's the first lie told in the Bible, and it's by God. But again, God determined that the wages of sin would be death. If he was truly all merciful, then he could have made the wages of sin anything. He could have made it a slap on the wrist with a ruler, and then no one would ever have to burn in hell.
But then God still chose to redeem... I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
Yeah, it sounds like what you're about to say is, well, he opened the emergency exit door after he set fire to the building, determining that the wages of... so determining that the wages of sin would be death is setting fire to the building. It is setting up a system that puts people in danger. But then he provides a path for us through Jesus, opening the emergency exit door to let some people out. That doesn't make him the good guy in the situation. If he had never set up the system in a way that put us in that danger in the first place, then we wouldn't need saving. But he had complete control over what the wages of sin would be, and he chose to make them death.
Sure, and it's like, but at the same time, I think it's kind of like a lose-lose situation because, either God gives us the out to not be with him forever, right? Which would be kind of like trapping us there with him. Or God lets us, choose to not be with him, choose to sin, choose for to rebel from what God, created us for, right? To be with him and to share in his perfection forever. And he said, you don't have to be with me forever, and there are going to be consequences for that.
Yeah, so he is all-powerful. So again, he could have set up a different option where we're not forced to be with him forever, but we can still live in a place where there is not suffering. Because I think you would agree, there's not suffering in heaven, correct?
I would agree with that. I think that's
Is there still free will in heaven?
That's a whole, that argument, I've questioned that myself. I think well, in heaven, we're made new, we're made new in heaven. And I think the concept of heaven is very difficult for myself. I don't know, I've always struggled to quantify it myself. Maybe your understanding of it is better.
Okay.
But I think the argument or the sort of, I guess, debate about whether there's free will in heaven it's a very interesting debate. I don't know how it would work because I think, like you said, in heaven, there is no suffering, right? But being human beings who have a temperament to sometimes do bad things, right? I'm sure, you'd agree with that.
Yeah.
Then, how could it be that... Pardon me?
Well, I was just going to say there's two different outcomes then. So, assuming that there is no suffering, like you've said, there's two options. Either there is free will and there's no suffering, which means that it's possible for God to create a place where there is free will without suffering. So he could have allowed that on earth, a place where there is still free will, but there is no capacity for suffering to exist. So he could have done that on earth, but didn't. Or there is no suffering and there is no free will, but since heaven is the place that is supposedly much better than earth and is where it is preferable for us to be, that means that it is preferable for us not to have free will, so God just shouldn't have given it to us in the first place. Because our time on Earth, in the span of eternity, is not even a period in an
No,
encyclopedia.
Yeah.
So what is the point of temporarily making us suffer to have free will for a little while to then take it away? And that's the ideal. Why not just put us in the ideal the first time? So either way, whether there is or is not free will in heaven, God is choosing to let us suffer, which to me suggests that he's probably not real, at least not in the way that the Bible describes.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, you said something. I knew what I was gonna say, and I completely forgot it now. It's funny. My goodness.
Sorry, I went on a little while on that one.
You know what? It's okay. I do that too. It was something about, I don't know. For me, like, essentially what this all boils down to is, like I said, it's kind of like a lose-lose. Like, either God. Oh, it was. Oh my goodness. It's coming back to me. I really apologize. That's right. So on Earth, we sort of, you were talking about, on Earth we have our free will, and then in heaven, we might not, or maybe we do. But you're saying, like, how can a punishment on Earth sort of, or how can our decision on Earth for only this, like, speck of time within eternity, determine the rest of our eternity, which is kind of a weird concept, but, like, correct me if I'm wrong in what you're saying.
That wasn't really what I was drawing attention to. I was more using that as an example of, like, why temporarily, like, give us a life without free will? Like, what is the point of that in the grand scheme of eternity?
Yeah, I think it's, like, I think it's to determine, and obviously God knows, but I think it's so we can have the choice to be with God or to be away from God.
But again, he could create a world where we can make that choice. We don't have to be around God, but we still don't have to experience suffering. And if he were genuinely all-loving, then he would respect people not wanting to be around him. Like, if you have a friend, and that friend is like, hey man, like, I'm sorry, but for whatever reason, I just don't think I can be around you anymore. Mm-hmm. If you were a truly all-loving person, you would say, hey, that makes me really sad to hear that, but I completely understand. I respect your decision. I'm going to let you do that. But God instead is like, well, either you get to be with me or you get to suffer forever. Mm-hmm. Why is God vindictive rather than genuinely showing an all-loving nature?
So, in the Bible, would you at least agree with me that God is said to be, like, all good, all loving? Like, would you agree with that much?
They call him that. They call him that. Yeah, his actions don't line up with that.
Oh, I know you don't think that, but I'm just asking if you can understand that that's what the Bible's claiming. Like, I'm sure, I know you don't agree with it, but
that's certainly the claim.
Yeah. So, if what you're saying is, can God create a place that is away from him, that is without suffering? Is that what you're saying? Like, why?
We know he can. If he is all powerful, he can. It's more like, why doesn't he? Why does he instead say either you love me or you suffer? Because that doesn't really seem all loving. It seems a little egotistical. Like, imagine a parent saying that to a child. Like, if you don't tell me that you love me, if you don't, like, show your love to me, you don't get to eat dinner tonight. Is that loving? That's withholding something from because of your own pride.
Yeah, well, what I was gonna say there, like, God is, and like we established, like, the Bible claims that God is all good, all loving, right? And so to create a place that is without God, right? Is that sort of what you're saying?
He could create a place where he is not present, but there is still no suffering.
But God is omnipresent, right? And does that place then have free will, or does that place not have free will?
If God is omnipresent, then even hell is not apart from God. So there's already no place apart from God.
Apart from God's grace. Apart from his, like...
So you're saying even the people who don't want to be near God still have to be in his presence in hell? That just seems doubly evil.
Sorry, I just read a comment. I just completely missed it. Did not hear a word of what you said there. I'm sorry.
let me go through it again. So you're saying that like if he were to make a place where he was not, that couldn't happen because he is omnipresent. Well, that assumes that God is still present in hell. So if your entire idea is people are going to hell because they want to be apart from God, well, they're still not apart from God then. So that's just doubling down. That's just making it worse over, because it's like, oh, you still have to be around me, but you also have to suffer, rather than just you still have to be around me, but at least you don't suffer.
I think the I'm sorry, were you done there? I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah.
I think the concept of hell in that understanding, my friend and I talk about this all the time, like the understanding of that is kind of like, it's kind of hard to like quantify, right? Like, okay, well, God is omnipresent. Well, how can hell be without God, right? It's a difficult question for sure. And I think what I've sort of come to understand is that on earth here, we reject, and like I said, and like in the Christian worldview, I know you're not Christian, so that's a topic for another time or whatever. But in the Christian worldview, you know, on earth, our decisions matter, right? And to sort of, when we'll be judged by Jesus, right? Jesus died so, you know, we could all, to save us from our sins, right? Because as we established, right, like the wages of sin is death.
Because God decided it that way, yes.
So, goodness, this guy's music is really loud. So the wages of sin is death, right? And so on earth, our decision to deny that salvation that God, Jesus, has extended to us is a rejection of God's goodness, his mercy. It's not a rejection of God's presence. It's a rejection of all that he has given to us, that being his goodness, his mercy, his love.
I still don't think he's giving us actual love or mercy if he is willing to condemn us to damnation. If he is truly all loving, he would not want to see any harm befall us. He would not set up a system in which it was possible for his creation to be damned and suffer eternally. Like, if you're 18, you probably don't have kids, but imagine if you are a father, would you ever want there to be a possibility of your kid suffering for eternity?
No, absolutely not, no.
Because you would love that kid. So even if that kid did bad things, even if you disagreed, even if that kid fucking spat in your face and said that he hated you, you still wouldn't want harm to come to him if you truly love him unconditionally. It seems that God is claiming that he is all loving. He is wanting us to believe that he is all loving. But again, it seems more like an abusive relationship. And I say this because oftentimes in abusive relationships, people will say things along the lines of like, well, like, I do this because I love you, or like, look how you're making me treat you. Or like, I treat you better than anyone else would. I love you more than anyone else would because like you're not deserving of love. You're lucky that you have me, sort of thing. This rhetoric of like, I love you even when you're not worthy of it. Therefore, like, everything that I'm doing to you is behavior that you should like accept. And I just, that's kind of the vibe that the Christian God is giving off here by saying like, oh, you're so lucky that I decided to save you from the system that I set up to condemn you.
Right. So in that example there, talking about if I were a father, you know, of course, and, you know, I'm not sure if you're a parent, and of course, you know, you wouldn't want your child to be condemned to some sort of eternal, you know, hellscape or whatever, right? Like that would be awful. But like, I'm not God, right? I'm not an eternal, omniscient being. So disobedience and not disobedience, but like sort of like denial of me is not the same of denial of a being far greater than myself.
But if you are able to forgive and God is not, which one of you is more loving?
Well, God absolutely does forgive, but God absolutely does forgive. I mean, that's why he came down to die for us.
But he forgives conditionally.
I think everybody is. You know,
if everyone was forgiven, then you'd be a universalist and no one would go to hell. If you believe anyone goes to hell, then not everyone is forgiven.
What's a universalist? I'm sorry, I haven't heard someone say that before. That's a new one.
There are some who believe that like everybody goes to heaven regardless of belief.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't believe that person. I just want to clear that
Yeah,
up.
so not everybody is forgiven then if some people are still able to go to hell. Let me ask it this way because I think this will help because of something you said earlier. You talked about having a hard time conceptualizing eternity in heaven or like what heaven would be like. I think it's
Of course, yeah.
also important to remember that hell is supposedly also eternal. And eternal is kind of a misnomer here because eternal, if we were eternally in hell, that would mean that we have always been there as well. So just because there is a starting point, then that means that it cannot be eternal.
Yeah,
but it is it's from the current point on to infinity. As we said earlier, our lives on Earth are, less than a period in the encyclopedia of infinity. I mean, even tinier because it literally goes on forever and forever. Our lives are finite. The number of things that we can possibly do is also finite. And the number of those that would be sins is going to be an even smaller subsection. So to have someone tormented eternally, what is there to gain from that? Typically, if we give punishment, it's to try to rehabilitate someone, show them why what they did was wrong. There's nothing to be gained from suffering forever. You don't become a better person. You don't get to, like, change your mind or change your ways. You are stuck there suffering endlessly based on a finite number of crimes.
Yeah, and I think looking at like stuff like, God hardening the Pharaoh's heart and stuff, God uses like our heart posture and, God being omniscient, all-knowing, all this stuff, God knows, and like he's the perfect judge. He's going to judge perfectly in the end. And so looking at our lives on earth and judging us based off that, I have faith that, I have faith in the perfect judge that, God will
that's
judge
not really
perfectly.
It's not really an answer to my question, though.
I must have misunderstood your question now.
Yeah, so it's how is it just or loving or good or even useful to have someone tormented for the rest of time?
Well, it's essentially, and sorry, did I cut you off there?
No.
Is that the question? I think it's not quite a punishment in the traditional like human sense, like, oh, you might, discipline your kids by not letting them, be on their phone for however long or whatever, as sort of say like, hey, don't do this, or like, that sort of like, that makes sense there. Like that's a good like understanding of a punishment.
Yeah.
So I think the this punishment, it's different, right? Because I think in a way, like God is giving us, like we're showing God, like in our time on earth, it's useful because I don't think there is something to be gained from it. I think God has given us everything to gain by dying for us, right? He has given us eternity in heaven, which if you subscribe to that, which I know you don't, is all good. Like there's no suffering in heaven. God has given us this. Like
I'm gonna ask you something real quick. Sorry, I'm just gonna cut in because I want to kind of redirect the conversation a little bit. You said you're not a universalist. Do you believe that you have to accept Jesus as your savior in order to get into heaven?
So how would you define accept him as your savior? Because like I feel like there's like a lot of like different interpretations of like, oh, I just want to hear what you have to say about that so I can clarify.
Just
my
like believing he is your Messiah who died for your sins, so you're repenting of your sin, accepting him as your savior, sort of thing. Or the verse that's like, if you declare with your mouth Jesus is Lord and believe in your heart that God raised him from the dead, you will be saved. Just along those lines. We don't have to be too specific here, just generally, if you believe in Jesus as your savior, is that what is necessary to get to heaven?
Well, I think we are saved by grace through faith. So none of our works is what's going to get us to heaven, right? But faith without works is dead. So, true faith, like a good tree will produce good fruit, So, like, if you truly have faith in Jesus, you will be the light of the world, the salt of the earth. Like, you will...
Yeah, that's still not really... I'm asking what is necessary for salvation.
Faith in Jesus, yeah.
Faith in Jesus, right. So, Are you familiar with who Jeffrey Dahmer is?
I do know Jeffrey Dahmer, yeah.
Are you aware that
Not
he
personally.
not personally, he converted to Christianity towards the end
Okay.
of his life, pretty soon
Yeah.
before he passed away.
I didn't know that, actually.
It's true.
Wow.
If his
That's crazy.
belief in Jesus was legitimate, is he in heaven?
Well, Jesus's death pays the price for, like, his sacrifice is absolutely good enough. If his faith is genuine.
If his faith is genuine, do you think he's in heaven?
Absolutely.
Great. Are you familiar with Anne Frank?
Yes.
She was Jewish. She did not believe in Jesus as her savior. Where would Anne Frank be?
Well, Anne Frank, like any other human, has sinned. So
I'd like a more direct answer, please, Cameron. Where do you think she would be?
this is kind of sounding like a setup for like a gotcha moment, but
it's more just trying to get you to reflect on the fact that you think someone who slaughtered and raped and ate people could be in heaven, but Anne Frank, a Holocaust victim, would be in hell.
I think.
And you say God is the perfect judge? Does that seem like perfect judgment to you?
It does to me, because, and this is like I said, like, we're all equally, like, in our sin, like, we're all equally unequal and undeserving of God's love and mercy, right? And so, we've all chosen to rebel from God, like, in the Christian worldview. And so anyone, like, I feel, oh my goodness. Yes, like, it doesn't.
It's just troubling. Imagine. Yeah, you're saying you think that a Holocaust victim deserves to be in hell. A child Holocaust victim deserves to be in hell. And I understand your perspective. I understand that you genuinely believe that everyone is guilty of sin, that God doesn't see it as some sort of thing where, like, oh, you've committed more sins than others, so you're more or less worthy of forgiveness, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
But think about it from a perspective outside of Christianity, and consider, you're saying that a little girl who just happened to be raised Jewish, so she probably never...
Yeah.
So she never really got the same opportunity as other people who might have just been born into Christianity and heard about it a lot more often. So she is suffering eternally. There is no out for her. If hell is real to this day, she would be suffering in it, and she will continue to for all eternity for the crime of wrong place, wrong time.
So this is where I would say, like, have you heard sort of like, oh, well, what about the person, like, like the, indigenous people living who never heard about Jesus? Would they go to heaven or hell, right?
And I've heard the argument that, like, God reveals himself in many ways, so on and so forth.
Oh, that's not what I was going to go to. This is where, actually, I haven't heard that myself, actually. But I was going to say that, like, this is where what I was talking about, the perfect judge will judge perfectly. So if someone was born and they grew up in a household where they heard about Jesus, they heard about this, they were exposed to it, and they said, hey, you know what? Like, Jesus, you know what? I don't buy it. That's up to them. But if someone were to grow up not hearing about Jesus and lived a life, God would judge them, based off their life, right? He's the perfect judge, and he will judge perfectly. So if someone...
So you can be saved without Jesus.
If you never heard about him, I think it would be absolutely unfair for God. I don't think that's in God's nature to judge someone based off, like, that's not their fault. So I think...
Right, but by that logic, Cameron, wouldn't it be better to never evangelize to anyone so that there's less of a chance of them rejecting Jesus?
See, this is an argument I've heard, and I disagree with it, because I think that Jesus calls us to go preach the gospel to all nations, because Jesus has, how do I put this? The good news of Jesus, what he did for us on the cross, hearing that, like, and because, like I said, not hearing about Jesus isn't a definitive way to go to heaven. Like, it's not like a, sort of loophole. God is still going to judge that person, right?
Right, but if they deny Jesus, then they're almost certain to go to hell, right?
Well, absolutely, totally. So, but imagine you don't hear about Jesus, and you go like let's say Jeffrey Dahmer, since we're talking about our old pal Jeffrey Dahmer. He never hears
Your
about
words, not
Jesus.
mine.
No, hey, I was just making a joke there.
I know.
Anyway, so Jeffrey Dahmer never hears about Jesus. How do you know that if he had heard about Jesus earlier, like this is a hypothetical, of course, it's a little ridiculous, but he hears about him earlier. Maybe he says, like this Jesus guy laid out these morals. He claimed to be God. I want to listen to this guy. I want to follow him. You know what? I don't want to eat and do these terrible things to people.
Well, given where he grew up, I think it's likely he had heard about Jesus before.
Well, and like I said, this was a hypothetical, so
yeah, I feel like a lot of times people find religion or are approached by religion when they are in particularly vulnerable situations. I feel like Dahmer was probably in a pretty vulnerable situation since he was going to be...
Yeah, he had it rough, for sure. I mean, I never watched the show or read anything about him too much.
He was going to be, unalived by the state.
No,
that's when he seemed to find I'm talking about specifically when he found religion. Mm-hmm. So he was in a vulnerable state. He was probably coming face to face with his own mortality.
Yeah.
Very emotionally vulnerable situations are where people tend to find religion if they are not born into one.
Yeah, totally.
So I feel like it's likely that he did know about Jesus before, but that he had never really either looked into it deeply or accepted it or whatever you want to say. It just seems unlikely to me he'd never heard about Jesus.
And I mean,
I can't say whether or not his faith was genuine towards the end of his life.
No, me neither.
It's difficult for me to buy the idea that Dahmer would be in heaven and Anne Frank would be in hell, and that makes God perfectly just. I don't think anybody is deserving of eternal torment, to be fair. Like, if I'm in favor of justice, that would be people being, appropriately punished for what they have done wrong. There is literally nothing that one can do on Earth that would be worthy of eternal punishment, because everything we do on Earth is going to be finite.
Yeah. So I got it. I've been sitting in the gym parking lot, and I was kind of debating on oh, maybe I should join the live or whatever. And so I'll just wrap it up with this quick point. No, I've actually really enjoyed talking to you. So I want to say I'll wrap it up and just say what I just closing statements. Okay. What was I going to say there? Yeah. So like I said, I think God knows our heart posture. He sees, like I said, what he did with the Pharaoh, and maybe you disagree with that, because I think there's plenty of interpretation on whether, God did something, did change the Pharaoh's heart, or the Pharaoh's heart was hard and God used it. I mean, if you read it, obviously, I think...
It says that he did harden it. There's sometimes where it just says his heart was hard.
And it does, yeah. And that was after the Pharaoh's heart was hard to God. So this was anyway, like I was saying, I think God knows our heart posture. He, like the Pharaoh, he knows, he uses... he sees our heart posture. He knows where we're going to go, because he is, omniscient. He is the perfect judge, right? So God is going to judge perfectly. And that's sort of where I'll leave things, because like I said, the gym closes in an hour and a half, and I got somewhere to be. But before I go, I just want to say, I really appreciated having a nice, respectful conversation with you. I hope you felt, respected by me, because plenty of Christians on here use a bunch of ad hominems and stuff like that, and that's not the religion at all. That's just completely... I apologize if that was your experience with it, but...
You don't have to apologize for other people's actions. No, Cameron, you genuinely were respectful. I mean, it's very rare that any of my guests, stop to make sure they're not interrupting or disrespecting me, and that they listen to what I have to say. I do appreciate that you were willing to hear me out and consider some of the things we talked about. I ask that you keep thinking on them, and I also ask that you try to consider some of the things I said as someone who isn't Christian. I understand that you are.
Yes.
But I think if you recontextualize some of these things and you look at them from an outside perspective, look at them from the perspective of, okay, if this isn't true, if Christianity isn't true, what would this mean?
Sure. Yeah, totally. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there. It's just
You're all good.
Okay. Well, I don't quite know how to leave this thing. I don't know how to leave this.
I've got you.
Anyway,
I'll go ahead and drop you. But
I really appreciate it. Hope you have good rest of your night. And like I said, I've left you with some things to think about, hopefully, or maybe not. Just hopefully I've given you a better impression of some Christians than you get from others. You know, I just hope I didn't leave you the bad taste in your mouth, you know?
Well, no, I appreciate it, Cam. You have a good rest of your evening.
Yeah, you as well.
Bye-bye.
Bye. That
is going to be the last guest that I take tonight because I've been live for almost 3 hours. And for me, y'all know that is a long time. I typically max out at like 2.5. So I am going to send us over to someone after one last little plug. Make sure that you're following me on TikTok if you're not already. Make sure you're subbed on YouTube. Oh, and hey, Jamnik, thank you for the $10 super chat. Before tonight, I never had my message pinned. I'm honored robotgoat was my first. Thank you for being gentle at first. I'm going to go ice down my message now. Hey, pinning is the first step to pegging, and I'm sorry for saying that. Make sure you're following. Make sure you're subbed. I am going to be, instead of Ram's Ass, I'm going to be on Talk Heathen on Sunday. So your regularly scheduled Ram's Ass will not be happening. I'm going to be on Talk Heathen instead. It is likely that I won't have the energy to do a night Ram's Ass after that either. So go enjoy Talk Heathen, because it might be all that you're going to get. What else do I have to plug? Oh shit, I forget. It's gonna be, my YouTube is, it's technically Robot Goat with all the vowels taken out, but if you just search Robot Goat, you'll find me. Got the spoons for a quick question. Oh, one really quick one, sure.
I
Hey,
super
what's up?
appreciate it. I don't ascribe to Christian mythology, but I just wanted to ask if you would say that, like, up until the book of Judges, the Bible was pretty crazy.
I think it continues to be crazy.
You wouldn't say that up until the book of Judges, it's pretty ruthless?
Get out. That's what I get. I get punned on. Damn it! We are gonna go over to my friend Jen's live. Thank you for that pun. Oh, fucking hell. Damn it, you guys can't be funnier than me. It's not allowed. So we're gonna go over to my friend Jen on TikTok. So sorry, Tube Steaks. I don't have anything for you. Thank you for being here. Much appreciate. So we're gonna go over to Jen. Her username is jen.atl3, but Jen is spelled with 2 N's. So I'll put it in chat. Well, I typed it, but there we are. We're going to go over to jen.atl3. We're going to say hi on my behalf. We're not going to be weird. You guys already expended your 1 weird, all right? Unless you saved it. If you saved your weird from last time, you get another weird. Oh, thank you for the hanging lights. I still don't forgive you for the pun. I'm just kidding, I do. So, let's go say hello. Thank you, TikTok. I must bid you adieu first. And thank you to my new mods on YouTube. I know I just bestowed modship on a couple of people without a ton of explanation. I appreciate you. Agnostic, thank you for being on point with all the weird people that are coming into chat. I appreciate that so much. Because this would have been a much more miserable experience without you. So, thank you very much for that. Have a lovely night. I hope to see you all again. I will be live tomorrow night as well. But make sure that you